All right, we're live tonight with the famous Lamont Patterson from Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, California, Baldwin Hills, all kind of hills, every hill. I'm going to read his bio from the website. And I'm going to talk about a lot of movement.com. Somebody can put that in the chat if they want to. As World Movement Enterprises, we believe that music transcends boundaries and unites people from all walks of life. Our mission is to cultivate an environment where emergency talents can flourish and connect through universal language of sound. With Lamont Patterson's rich legacy and boundless passion for music as our guiding light, we amplify the voices of artists who dare to inspire and innovate and take risks. By offering personalized guidance and creative support, we champion not just the artists, but the entire community surrounding them, ensuring that every note played contributes to a symphony of shared experiences and dreams realized. Join us as we redefine the landscape of music and pave the way for the future filled with the artistic collaboration. I give you Lamont Patterson. How you doing, Lamont?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you today?
Okay. It's great that you're doing fantastic. I heard you just got back from Italy. What was happening over there?
Actually, I went over to shoot a film. It's my first opportunity, the first chance I've had to actually co-star in a horror film. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to dress up real crazy with the special effects. So that whole thing was fantastic. I was able to start
So
out in
what was
Rome, end up in Italy. I'm sorry, end up in France. I'm sorry.
what was the film about?
Actually, it's right now the name is I don't even know if I can say this, but right now it's The Fallen, but everybody in the film industry knows it's subject to change. Uh, it's about one of the angels that got kicked out of heaven, but he's not all the way to hell yet, and he's given the opportunity to help redeem some souls, to help some other people go in, and hopefully in his mind that he may have the opportunity get back in good graces and get back to where he came from. But that's about as much as I can say about it right now. Because they had a sign of $1 million NDA.
That movie must be about Jason, then, if it's talking about somebody almost going to hell.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Jason would say it
Okay.
shows a lot of my friends here.
Okay. Um, so what is the main thing that you do in your life, your main business? I know you're involved with so many businesses on the Instagram post. I got 20 photos in there. Of course, one of them is Jason at the very end, but I got 19 photos that you sent me. So what's some of the other businesses you want to tell us about them from however you want to tell us?
I guess to really answer your question simply for your listeners, it's been my passion for some time to build a full service entertainment company. Starting out as artist myself and going through um, the other little stopping blocks along the way, being a manager, being a producer, starting a record label. From then, getting into the acting field and realizing that everything revolves around music. There's no film, no TV shows whatsoever out there that don't have some form of music in it. There's no more silent movies anymore. Whether you look at commercials or whatever, there's some type of music in there. All the actors eventually want to do music. Everybody's doing music eventually want to do TV and film. So it's always been a natural synergy there. But I wasn't one that got grandfathered into business. I had to wear all those little hats individually. World Movement Publishing, for instance. We have a distribution deal with the largest distributor in the world, which started like 18 years ago. We had one of the first podcasts, but nobody respecting podcasts. But look at it now. Everybody and their grandmama got a podcast. So everything I wanted to do actually, revolves around entertainment on up till today. I'm fortunate enough to still have my record company, the publishing company. Now we're doing the television thing. We have a television network. We're offering channels to people. So I think that's the last thing. I mean, for me to be building a full service entertainment company. We're full well round. Hope I answers the question.
You so smooth, calm, and collective. You could talk a little bit louder, sir. You
Oh, I'm
sound like
sorry.
a quiet something. I don't want to say what I'm thinking, but you sound kind of quiet, so you might want to talk a little bit louder so people can hear you. Because I'm gonna have
Well,
when they get these clips, and that's like like when you record a song, you got to put it all the way up to 100 or 110 to hit a person. But we don't have to do that. But yeah,
okay.
like I say, you've been doing this for a long time now. On the music side, I know you've always been doing your thing for years. I know at one time you was involved with a group called New Birth. You want to tell us a little bit about that experience?
Oh, that was one of my first experiences. I always wanted, even through elementary and junior high school, coming from a family that was involved in music. My aunt played keyboards in the church, so even singing early on, and getting thrown in the band, learned the saxophone. I did that for many years, playing the horn till found out the horn players didn't get the girls, unfortunately. So I put down the horn and grabbed the microphone. My cousin, I had a cousin in the family, Bobby Sanders, who was managing this group called the Young Hearts. And I used to walk like 14 miles just to go see these guys, rehearse um, with their cool suits on, and the girls watching them do their choreography and stuff. And I was, just like most youth, I was impressionable. So I wanted to do that. So I always sang in schools through the little choirs, little bands and stuff. And then finishing high school, my cousin said he was going to help me with my music, but he was busy with the Young Hearts. I got into college and I met this girl, this young lady. Her uncle was Harvey Fuqua. He had this group, the Dramatics, Young Hearts, cousins group, side effect. And I ended up meeting the group. We ended up living in the same apartment building. So that was my first experience going out with a major group, which was the New Birth, writing songs and tour buses, getting the opportunity to perform with groups like, the OJs, the Moments, the Four Tops, some of the old R&B groups. But I grew up singing their songs, and one day I looked up and I was out on tour with these cats, man. It was a mind-blowing experience. And so I've always been involved from that time, forward, getting knowledge from some of the R&B greats, Dennis Edwards. Some of these guys are my personal friends, so everything they taught me how not to do, I didn't do. So that's why I'm still here today.
I'm I'm gonna have AI say, "This is a great interview with Lamont, but I need you to turn the volume up on his voice so
I'm,
we
I'm
can
I'm
actually hear."
talking. Hey man, well listen, I'm talking loud, so I don't know what
Well,
else. What else?
since I got a hearing issue, Jaysin is it loud to you? Let me ask somebody else. Jaysin went to sleep. You talking so slow.
I can't even hear him at
No, I
all. Is
can
he
hear
there?
him. When he leans forward, though, definitely it's better.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, so how about now? Should I lean all the way forward, but then my head, I feel like I got a big head like Kermit.
Yeah. Well, you
Uh,
can't.
is that better?
Well, unfortunately, we can't operate on your forehead, so we have to deal with that. Um,
All right.
so tell us, okay, so what did you actually start first? Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about growing up, your family life and growing up, and eventually how you led into the music. That any of your family was into music? I think you mentioned something about somebody in your family a second ago, but tell us how you got into it from the standpoint of a little kid growing up and being around. And also mention, like I know I saw before in your bio when I did read it 2 years ago. I saw names in there like Quincy Jones and stuff like that. So tell us about some of the famous people that you had experiences with, whether they were mentors or gave you some advice or whatever. And I'm gonna go
So
on mute
which
for a
one
minute.
you want me to go on first, sir?
I want you to hit them
First of
all
all,
in what order you want to do.
First of all, man, I come from a little small town in the country, so all you had to do was play music and sit on the porch and watch people play instruments and uh microphone, not microphones, what you call them, those mouth organs, harmonicas. That's what they were, you know. And like I mentioned earlier, that you may or may not have heard, you know, we've all started out in church. That's where we all started out. So my aunt played piano. She played organ, which I didn't want to play at the time because it wasn't very should I say, we didn't have many great role models playing keyboards. You know, we had Jerry Lee Lewis and we had Little Richard, some of those guys. But I wanted to play something a little bit harder. So that's why I got into the horns, you know. So that's how I got started, man. I've been always around music, you know, not one of those guys that came up in the music industry and said that I have my own style, which I hate people hearing people say that today because I think we all are a product of our environment, one way or another. You know, the music we heard growing up, you know, we all kind of absorb that. So now what was your other question, sir? Quincy Jones. I had the pleasure of managing this other gentleman, uh, Bill Summers, from Summers Heat. He also worked with me producing Big Boy's first record. I guess you guys know the Big Boy's Neighborhood, but before he became an air personality, he was actually a rapper. So we did his first record. But anyway, Quincy, he was one of the guys that was very instrumental. You know, he's the one that taught me how to keep my ego in check, leave it outside, try to impart that little bit of information on artists. Like ego is like ethyl, a gas in a gas tank. Yeah, you need a little bit of that to get where you're going. But too much of that is not a good thing. You know, it makes you into a bad investment. Nobody really want to work with you. So that was an experience. Through that whole thing, I got to meet guys like Sting, um, which is another down to earth, humble guy that a lot of people don't know about, but then a lot of people do. So I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of people over the years, you know what I mean? So we can talk about all those great things in the past that got me where I am now, but I'm more excited about the things that are going on today.
Let me just ask you this, even though this might not be in reference to today, but as you were growing up and singing, who would you compare yourself to, or you know as an individual in the singing thing, or do you just say I'm more like the group so and so as far as your personal style?
Okay, but you got to keep in mind too that we didn't have what do we have? We had Jackie Wilson. We had in my era we had, you know, I'm looking at guys like Shelby Checker, Gene Chandler, let me see. And then, like I said, all the R&B groups, the big band groups, you know, that's when they got popular. You know, the OJ, the Dramatics, the Moments, the shoot, I can go on and on. The
Yeah.
Whispers, all those got popular. You know what I mean? So everybody wanted to sing in a group before, you know, it became David Ruffin and the Temptations or uh, Diana Ross and the Supremes. You know, back early on, I think in my early 20s, I had an office in the Motown building. You know, and I got to meet guys like G.C. Cameron from the Spinners. I mean, I picked up stuff from all those guys, man, because I turned my head into a sponge. I was a little faster than I should have been, but I look back now. I mean, I've lived a fairly good life and I've worked with a lot of doggone people in the industry. And so far, I got a pretty decent reputation.
Speaking of Gene Chandler, his son gives a movie film festival every year in Orlando, Florida. I'm friends with his son. And you know, a lot of I mean, this is a very small industry. I'm actually waiting on John Wilson to come in. Salute to Brent Barlow, his good friend from LA as well. Let me just take a moment to mention some of the people sitting here right this minute. Let's see, just in here at the moment. Give me a second. Of course, we're interviewing Lamont Patterson from World Movement Records. We have Queen Karen G from Washington, D.C. That rhymes, so that must mean I'm a rapper. And people think I'm funny sometimes, so maybe I'm a rap medium like her son. Cool TLC, but that's Queen Karen G from Washington, D.C. She does a pet room every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Clubhouse app. Then we have Felicia Drummond. I didn't see Felicia coming in. So that's Felicia D864 on all platforms. And of course, we have Jaysin Voxx out of Los Angeles. We interviewed him a while ago on a Tuesday. He's a cool guy sometimes. Next, we have artist BBY, who is a singer and songwriter out of North Carolina and Atlanta and Los Angeles. And she had a song on Digital Radio Tracker that was #1 for 4 weeks, the most we've had by any artist that we deal with so far. The only other record that was #1 longer was Warren G and Ty Dolla $ign record 4 or 5 years ago, actually. Next, we have Make Your Ear Hot Entertainment out of Chicago, Illinois, Darrell P. They are a management company, recording company, and a publishing company out of Chicago. Then we have DJ Punch 317 on all platforms. He does Mixaholic Mondays every single Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, and 6 o'clock on the West Coast. Every Monday, never canceled, never postponed for 5 straight years. So he must be related to me. I've been doing this for 11 straight years. No, actually 14. It started in 2011. This is the 14th year of doing the ECMD thing and not postponing or canceling as well. So Punch catching on. And then we have Don SZN, which it took me a while to know that the SZN stood for Don Season. So I guess he put seasoning on his R&B music, his R&B singer, songwriter out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Next, we have Lareezy, who is a Afrobeats artist, and he's from Lagos, Nigeria, and now in Chicago. And his picture is a picture of his plaque that his record was #1 for 3 weeks on Digital Radio Tracker. And he's also out of Chicago now, and artist and Lareezy Don work with Make Your Ear Hot Entertainment out of Chicago. Next, we have Will Gamble the Plug, or Queen Karen got a special name for him. Something similar, I guess, to PPE. But he's one of the main guys on every Thursday that's on the same link tree where it says Throw Down Thursday. Will's a great guy, good to know, good to work with. So you definitely want to check him out, follow him on Instagram. He got his Instagram on his profile here. Anybody can put the Instagram or the information in the chat. That's the first thing DJ Punch does. He put his email in there the first thing before you even open your mouth. So salute to Will. Then we have Brent Bartlow, who is, like I say, John Wilson's friend out of California. Hopefully John will be jumping on here soon. Oh, he just jumped on. See that? See, Brent must have called him or something. And then we have Michael J. Calhoun from the Kinsman Daz Band, multi-platinum Grammy Award winner, singer, songwriter, producer. Also made history by charting in 6 different genres of music, including a song with Felicia D864, who's a rapper out of Greenville, South Carolina. And where did John go? Is my mind playing tricks with me? I saw John come in here. Well, I'm gonna wait till he come back before I introduce him. Brent, what the hell happened to John?
I had let him in.
Yeah, well, maybe he had to come fix his mic or something. Because it looked like he was trying to talk or something. But anyway, back to Lamont for a minute. Yeah, man, you mentioned a lot of big names. Of course, the Quincy Jones stick out among most. And it's funny that I forgot to mention this earlier. I mentioned that you at one point was with the group, and when I talked to Big Hutch, Code 187 from Above the Law, the first group name he mentioned was that group name. First name he mentioned, because he has a brand new mixtape out. I'm about to send out to people later on after this show ends. He has a brand new mixtape that's where he's rapping over music, but he's not speeding it up. He's not changing it. He's just simply rapping on existing music from people like Newberg. That's the one he said, that's the first name he mentions. That was really a surprise. He mentioned the song title. I forgot which one. But anyway, so back to your acting. How long have you been acting?
I think about 18 years now. Yeah, about
Okay.
18 years.
And about how many films or TV shows have you been in so far? Can you count them?
No, actually I can't. And I was thinking about that before I came on today. I was trying to think. Um,
Well, I'm gonna do like they do
yeah, that,
on these shows. Is is it more than two? is it
definitely more than two. I
is,
mean, because
is it less than 100?
no, it's more than 100.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's more than 100. Some of them I'm really not all that excited about. I was thinking about the Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh yeah, tell us a little bit about that because Jeffrey Dahmer
Yeah,
is from Ohio.
yeah. Well, I played the nosy neighbor in that, and I really didn't know exactly what movie it was going to be when I got booked on that. When I got booked on that movie, and once I got there, went through hair and makeup and all that stuff, and then I started listening to people. And then I knew of the story, but for some reason it just slipped me. I didn't know that was what it was that day.
Well, you
But
definitely fit to be. They picked you perfect to be the nosy neighbor.
why you say that? Why you
I
say
don't
that,
know. That's
Kermit?
something to say. Because I'm a
Yeah, man.
because I'm a rap medium like Queen Karen's son. That's why.
All right then. Well, I'm gonna be nice though. I'm gonna be kind because
Okay, but okay. So as a nosy neighbor, I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I will go watch it now that you mentioned that. Is that the one that's on? Which one is it? What's that one called?
Netflix. It's on
Oh, Netflix.
Netflix.
Okay, that's all I need to know. The one that's on Netflix. I've seen it. I've
Amazon
seen that link
Prime,
before. I'm gonna
something
go
like
watch
that.
it. So at what minute about what minute of the movie you come on? In case I don't want to watch the whole movie, I can just go to whatever. Or do you pop up several times being nosy to see who he got in there eating or something?
Oh man, do you honestly think I remember all that crap, man? I remember, dude. I had some girl run up to me not even long ago, man, with her cell phone, talking about, "Is it you? Is it you?" Because a lot of times when you film stuff, we don't never know when it's going to be released. I have to go through editing. We'd be happy if we make it past the cutting floor. This girl came up to me and said, "Is it you? Is it you?" I didn't know what the hell she was talking about, but she was talking about the Colin Farrell series called Sugar that's on Peacock. I forgot I even filmed that, dude. You know what I'm saying? So,
I,
but a lot
I
of
do
times
understand.
I don't know when things come out till somebody see them or somebody tell me because that's information that is really not given to the
Well,
actors.
I definitely understand that because I just had that experience myself. There's a documentary out about hip hop in Cleveland, right? So I'm in the documentary. They got like four shows so far, and I made a comment about a guy I was managing. Matter of fact, his name is DJ Johnny O with the Nerve DJs, and he was called Grand Wizard Johnny O at the time back in the late '80s. And I made and I forgot I even said this. This was like 5 years ago. I did an interview, but they're just now releasing the documentary. And I made a comment about he actually did a remix to Criminal Minded by Boogie Down Productions that sold 1 million copies and we never got paid. I forgot I even said that. So I definitely understand what you're saying. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely understand what you're saying. So from what you do remember, tell us some things that you remember, some interesting stuff about some movies, some things that. What do you think is your favorite part to play? For example, like I always wanted to be. I always told friends that was doing movies. If you want to include me, I can just play the drunk guy at the bus stop. I don't need no big part. But what was some of your favorite roles that you played, or an image that you actually liked?
Hmm. Let me see. Somebody asked me how long I've been acting. I had to tell them something that was so real it kind of went on their head. But I've been pretty much acting ever since I've been a black man. been acting all my life. So to do something in front of well, I don't know. To answer your question, I think it was probably like maybe SWAT or maybe SWAT. I kind of like really like that because I kind of could relate when I thought about the music industry, I started thinking about a lot of, rappers and, the street culture. I kind of think it was maybe some SWAT. And then again, I enjoyed working on Snowfall, which was kind of like same thing. It was kind of urban, should I say. And as it turned out, John Singleton ended up being a neighbor. He actually lived around the corner from me before he passed away. God bless his soul. But I don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of experience because I didn't really start out to even be an actor. I ended up knowing that I did want to eventually produce my own content. I want to learn a little bit more about the film industry, just like I went through the recording the music industry. It was all about on the job training. When I started out, I wanted to know how the film industry work, how the cameras work, how the sound men work, what the first AD, second AD. I want to know what their jobs were. I mean, it's just like, just be having a recording studio. You can go to school and you can learn certain things, but you can't learn like you actually sitting behind a board and watching somebody else. So the whole acting thing for me was on the job training, something that I never really wanted to do, to be just an actor, but I wanted to be able to be good at whatever I did. I wanted to be good at it. I want to be proficient at it. Now I think I know enough people in the film and TV industry. I know the equipment, so I know, we'll be able to do our own movies. We'll be able to do our own film. We've already started. So it's not really one thing, Kermit. It's a combination of everything, if that makes sense.
Okay, I think I see John Wilson here now. How you doing, John? Mr. Wilson, if you're nasty.
I
What's
was
up,
trying
buddy?
to unmute. I was trying to unmute. How you doing?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
What's up,
I don't
Lamont?
know if you had met Lamont yet. Remember, I was telling you I wanted you guys to meet because he's out there in Los Angeles too. He just got back from Italy doing a movie. We had talked about that earlier. And
Okay.
he was also part of the group New Birth at one point in his career too.
I know, man. We did too many shows. You, me, and Leslie, and God rest in peace, Melvin, all of
Melvin.
right. We did that. I think we first toured together was y'all, us, the OJs, and the Dramatics. We swept across the country. I think that was in '75. We sold them out. How
Yep.
you doing? You look good, brother. You look good.
Man, I'm still trying to hang in here, man. Just like you mentioned, a lot of the old guys, man, they not with us, man. And I think about them all the time, especially you remember Bird,
Yeah.
James Baker.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man,
James,
yeah.
James was my mentor, man. I mean, I learned so much from that cat.
Yeah,
Yeah, we used to go over his house and shoot the ball a little bit, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Louisville, Louisville, Kentucky, right?
Yep,
Yeah, but
yeah,
he was out here when he passed, though. You know.
exactly. He was out here, and I still, well, I don't know. I still talk to Shelly.
Oh, how's he doing?
No, Shelly, the girl. I mean, where he
Oh,
was staying when he passed away. Shelly,
oh, right, 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 right,
the
right, right.
key, the
I,
keyboard player.
yeah, I went to Shelly Berger. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
How
Right.
you gentlemen doing, Lamont and John? This is Mike Calhoun.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing
Hey,
great, man. I knew
hey, man.
Alan Fry. I knew Alan Fry. Yeah, hey man, we friends on Facebook, man. Big time.
Yeah, I know, I know. I've been seeing you long, man.
I
Good to
know.
meet you. Good to meet you
Yeah,
personally,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I like the DMs, and I send you some. You send me some. It's a great thing. And John's been my friend forever, man. One of my mentors.
Hey man, I try to be a little bit different from other people. A lot of times we say we're gonna support each other and do this and that, and it's good
Oh man,
conversation, but
you
actually,
cool.
actually it don't happen. So I go out of my way to not be like some of them other people.
Oh yeah, man. I'm humbled by that. I love that. That's great. That's good of you. Yeah. We
You're
need to
not
do
talking
that
about me,
more.
are you?
Yeah, well, let me just put it this way. What I also found out is it's not who you know, it's how you know who you
Right. And if they need you.
know. Yeah, well, that goes almost to the use to the misuse category. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I don't care about people using me because I get better at my craft, but I have a
Yeah.
problem with the misuse department.
Right, right, right.
Well, I think what's
Now
so
that's Kermit.
and I think what's
Kermit,
so beautiful.
Kermit can speak now.
No, I think what's so beautiful here again, all of us have been friends well over what 50, almost 50 years now, Lamont.
Yeah, man.
Well, well, yeah, I mean, and to see that, you're still doing good and looking good, and Mike is, we still here, brother. We looking straight at each other, not down at each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
But I'm really
That's-
proud of. I've been seeing you on TV, Mont, and hey, man.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
Hey, John,
man.
when do they have that event every year in California where y'all meet? All the people meet in the summer or something.
Pat Shields has a Legends and Icons picnic, every year, and in fact, I think Leslie and Melvin came one year. What was Melvin's wife's name? She was manager. I can't remember, but I think that they had the last one last year because I hate to say it, it's thinning out, you know. So, but again, Lamont, it's great seeing you, brother, and you just evoking a lot of great memories we had on the road together.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
like I said, some of us still here, man. Like I was saying early on in the interview, a lot of things that some of my mentors told me not to do, they kept doing it. I remember. I know you remember Willie Ford from the Dramatics. He was
Oh,
one of the. He was one of the
Yeah.
main one. He's one of the main ones that said, Lamont, you can't smoke all the smoke, you can't drink all the drink, you can't sleep with all the women. This business will kill you.
that's right.
And I heard that, and I was afraid. Actually, I was afraid, really, because I was just afraid because I watched them. Dennis Edwards was a really good friend of mine too,
Right.
and I watched them. I watched Ron Banks. I watched those guys. Tonight you're in this town, next night you're in another town, next day you somewhere else, the day after that you're somewhere else. And I watched that, and I'm like, well, when do these guys rest? When do they eat? I mean, when do they exercise? Because you're going from rehearsal to a show to a sound check to the room, and then that's when the alcohol and the substance get involved. So I watched all of that.
I think
So
when you and I started when we touring together, which was 75, I think we pulled 80 dates that year. We started
wow,
in Philly and we went, across. And that's one thing that you were just saying, man, you and I never we saw that close up.
right, right,
And
right.
and I'm glad that you didn't do it or Mike or me to stay away from it because it was there for the asking, like you said, not for free. You know,
Exactly,
you know, we
exactly.
we saw some of the other brothers that was touring with us, falling by the wayside behind that. So what you saying, man, is word, man, because I haven't done it till
Yeah.
this day, and we're still
They used to come in with the substance by the truckload just to be in your company.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
wait, here, I
just
ain't
to
gonna
come
tell.
just to come to your room, and they'd be like, here, you'd be like, oh no, no, no.
Oh yes, so they can brag about it.
Wait,
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
well, wait a minute. I ain't gonna say the name of the group. We was on tour and we couldn't find our keyboard player, and the limousine was down to take us over to the gig, and the road manager said, "Hey man, where's Gob at?" I said, "I don't know where Gob at, man. He ain't downstairs." He said, "No, we went to looking for him, and he was with some other. I tell you offline who it was, and they had a salad bowl full of the snow, two
yeah.
or three bricks there." And the cigarettes roll up in their head. I said, man, and right, Calhoun, I'll tell you who that was later, but
Okay.
but and when we got back to Cleveland, man, and said, man, we can't do this no more, man. So,
No, man.
yeah.
I'm looking for my friend Sly Stone. Anybody seen him lately? Uh,
He's around. He's living a life.
But
with
last
his
time I heard
with
it,
his family.
Hey, I know he told me I had asked him could I redo Sing a Simple Song because I really liked that track. I really
Yeah,
liked
nice.
that song, and he told me I could once he got his business straight with the labels. But
yeah.
I know that's been straight, but I ain't been able to catch up with him since. You know.
Well, you can still redo it, Lamont. Just because it's not a master use, just go ahead and redo it. Just give him the the credits, whoever who go to, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Lamont,
Gary Fox. Yeah.
I'm gonna
yeah,
put my number in there to you, Lamont, right quick. Look at your chat.
Okay, we'll do that.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's just that, I had talked to him personally and he
Yeah.
agreed personally because he and I got some years back relationship too.
All right.
And when I talked to him, I gave him a bottle of champagne
yeah.
from Poo Poo Man from
Yeah.
George Clinton's thing. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
No telling who got that publishing on that song by now. Yeah,
well, I
they
know the
thought.
big fight. The big fight was with Sony. I know y'all remember that, but I know no telling
Yeah,
who got it
yeah.
now. You're right. You're
Right,
right.
right.
No
Yeah,
telling who got it now.
yeah.
But
They
but
passed
yeah,
Let It
but
Rip
I
around.
said but I said that to say, back when it was a different time and all that substance abuse was very, very, very new to everybody and it hadn't got into, epidemic proportions like of course it is now. And
Yeah.
it is, man. It's totally a blessing that we were able to maneuver through all of that and
Yeah.
come out with some level of sanity
To God
to
be the
certain
glory.
Yeah.
yeah,
Even, even I had a substance
sanity.
abuse too. People don't know this, but I had a substance abuse. It was watermelon.
For
To
some
God be
strange
the
reason, for some strange reason, I could believe the hell out of that. I could
yeah,
believe
I was
yeah,
addicted to watermelon.
yeah. I got you,
Hey,
baby.
hey, while we're talking about movies, I want John to share one thing. John, what's in the movie that in the Jacksons movie? What was the one scene that Joe told me that was definitely not accurate? I want you to speak on a little bit tonight, since we talked since Lamont just got back from Italy doing a movie. I want to make a little comment about a movie, the Jacksons movie. So, what was that thing that Joe said was not accurate in the movie that we talk about
Well,
all the time?
well, one was when he was coming out of the gig and they were robbing the truck. They were taking instruments out of the truck.
Right.
And it showed on there that, like one or two punches and Joe went down, but Joe said he told me he got whooped pretty bad. He really got jumped because, Joe was originally a prize fighter. So I know he could handle it himself, but he said, man, it was just too many. So he really got beat up pretty bad. But again, that was his boys. He was protecting his boys, and so but again, Lamont and Mike and I, we seen it all on the road, that type of stuff, and
Yes, sir.
and like I said, we're glad that what we seen at a young age, we're all in our 20s, and first hitting out there, and what we saw on the road, we grew up quick,
Survivors.
and like I said, Lamont, was strong enough and man enough to say, I'm not going to deal with this.
Right. Belly of the beast. Yeah, man. I
Right.
got you.
When you use the term, John, growing up quick, like on the documentary I was talking about earlier, there was a group talking about they had went somewhere, which I was actually at this concert. It was in Toledo, with I think LL Cool J was one of the headliners. Anyway, the guy that doing the concert allegedly, he claimed that the box office got robbed. He couldn't pay nobody, and the group had already, like bought, was buying more outfits and more instruments and stuff for the next show to make the show better. But it was like broke and had to wait for somebody to wire them some money. Have y'all ever experienced a thing about not getting paid like in a disrespectful manner? Like, hey, I just don't have the money, or I'm not going to give you guys no money, or take the
Hey,
money if you want it.
let me answer that one right quick because I'm sure I'm sure most groups during that era, they ran into some situation. I
Still.
know, I know, I know for me, I know for me, we all kind of got caught up in buying big houses and living in Hollywood Hills. You know, my backyard used to overlook, the what is it, the Hanna-Barbera studios, off the 101 freeway. We all had that. But there was
Mm.
times, man, you could be out on the road and you get hooked up with some shisty business people. Everybody say,
Right.
well, man, you need a business manager, you need a business manager. But they didn't tell you that some of these business managers are crooks. They didn't tell you that either. So,
Right.
there was times that we got caught up and we got behind on our taxes. And it wasn't because we wasn't trying to pay our taxes and pay our taxes. We just depended on our business manager to pay taxes. So there's times when you end up on the road doing a gig and go to get paid and you ain't getting paid because the tax man got your money.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I'm saying?
we had a good manager, Sonny Jones. You remember Sonny Jones, John?
I remember Sonny, absolutely remember Sonny.
Yeah.
But
Well, he taught us to get paid to play. Don't play to get paid. And we get half of it up front, but before we laid our hands on any instrument or got on the stage, we get the rest of the money. So we got paid to play, not play to get paid.
well, my story of that right quick. When we first signed with Paramount, and again, they only had two R&B acts. They had us and the Pointer Sisters. So
Right.
we struck out on tour with the Watts on Third Street Rhythm Band, right? So we
Yeah.
had pulled about maybe 30 or 40 dates, and we were sometime somewhere down in Georgia. And again, the our manager, who he also at the time managed us, Sam and Dave and Johnny Taylor,
Right.
right? And we looked at each other and said, "Man, we looking at the houses, we packing these houses, but this money ain't right." So we were
Mm.
somewhere down in Georgia, and Wicked Michael Bell said, let's
Uh-huh.
go look at it in the limousine, and
Uh-huh.
we started looking in the limousine. We opened up the trunk, and
Uh-huh.
up under the tire was this big cash box, and there was
Uh-huh.
all that money that wasn't being counted for. So
Right.
Charles Slick, he took it and we took it to our room. We said, now listen, he said, if this is right, he's gonna come out and he's gonna start yelling and screaming. But if he don't say nothing, he's been taking our money. So
Right.
he came out, he didn't say a word, and I know he wouldn't look. And when we got back to Cleveland, man, we said, Kirk out,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Crook. Yeah. Yeah. Shyster. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Lamont, you go ahead, bro.
No,
And, um,
I was just agreeing, man, with all those I mean, look at it now in hindsight. I mean, we have to chalk it up to paying our dues. 'Cause really that's
yeah.
what it was. I mean, we didn't know. We didn't know. We are just out there, and a lot of times we are just going by what our guts told us, man,
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
until we found out different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Our biggest thing was finding out that it was sometimes within the group, within the structure of the group, like with Harold Melvin, on Unsung, Teddy gives a story of needing some Pampers, and he goes to the house and peeks through the peek hole of Harold Melvin after asking him for some money, $20. And he said he lifted up the mattress and with nothing but money, just stacks of 50s, and he searched in there and found a 20 and gave it to him. And he said he was out of the group the next week. I mean, it's documented on Unsung. And then it happened like that with us a few times. I'm not gonna mention any names, but sometimes it's from within
Oh,
that
of
the
course.
problem is. Yeah.
It's all kind of, and especially in our industry, man. It's all kind of jealousies, uh, ego issues, and
Right.
you be trying to figure out, where's that shit really coming from? I mean,
Yeah. Right.
what? I mean, your wife said I look good in a suit, so now I'm a threat. You know what I mean? I mean, where's all this shit coming from?
Right.
And
Right.
I still don't understand it, except for there's some men. I guess they at the end of the day, it don't matter how old you are, they just got more of their mama in them than they do their daddy.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know,
There you go.
you just got your weak tendencies. What can I say? You know,
Hey,
Speak,
yeah, you
Speaking
said
about
it there.
problems on the road, though, Michael Calhoun has kind of a story because he had an issue because the leader of his group wanted to put his names on songs that Michael was writing, and they end up falling out about it because Michael didn't, didn't want nobody robbing him of his credit and stuff. So
Of
that's
course,
something else that's kind of like your money that go. And I know another young man that co-wrote a song with Levert that the same thing happened to them. The song was supposed to be a third, a third, and a third. They ended up giving
hmm
him 10% instead of giving him a third, and
yeah,
said that, and allegedly the lead singer said, "Well, they come to see me anyway, more or less like the Temptations movie. Ain't nobody want to see you, Otis, but they coming to
yeah,
see me. They coming to hear my voice. So why am I giving you more than 10% anyway? Even after we
right,
agreed to a third." But go ahead, Michael. If you
yeah.
want to share a little bit
I,
about what happened to you?
Oh no, you said it all right there, brother. I
Okay,
don't want
no
to.
problem.
Yeah, you
Have
said it
you and
all.
you know,
have you
I think
Lamont had
I
any experience like that? You or John had that kind of experience where somebody trying to take your credit or take something from you?
well, mine was a little different because when you're on a tour bus and people just riding up down the highway across country, somebody come up with a jam and everybody start throwing a lyric here and there and shit comes up. And then we
Right,
to put together a song. I mean, who actually wrote the song? The whole group wrote the song. But
right,
what I found out was the issue when I got on the business side of the record label. They came up with this thing called work for hire. Uh,
right.
when you pay somebody that's on your payroll, your writing staff or whatever, they come up with a song, but you actually get to register that song as your song that you wrote it. But
Right.
as a musician and a songwriter, man, even though that's the business and that's how it go, it just don't feel good because you actually didn't pen it yourself.
Right.
You caused it to be written, but you
Yeah.
personally didn't write it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you just got, I mean, what I'm saying, as a songwriter, as a
Yeah.
musician,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
feel like you stealing or you're not
Right.
giving this person credit. But what I
Right.
started doing, I started giving them credit anyway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it just didn't feel good within, even though I know the legalities and
Yeah.
all of
Yeah. I
that.
got you. I got you. You're giving up for the intellectual property.
Exactly.
Who actually came up with the idea. I got you, man. That's a good. You're a good
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Back in 2008, I was at a conference in Tallahassee, Florida, for where TJ's DJs was giving a lot of core DJs and different DJs was down there, and they spoke on a panel. Matter of fact, one of the guys, Babyface brother, I think, was down there, or somebody from his group. Anyway, they discussed the fact of when you're recording that you should have nobody in the studio but yourself, because you can have your homeboy in there hanging around, and even if y'all smoke or drink or whatever, and he might just say a word. He might just say telephone, and then you make a song, telephone man. Dun, dun, dun. Like, wait a minute, I co-wrote that. I said the word telephone while I was drunk, sitting behind you, passed out.
It
So
happens all the time. Happens
they
all the
always say,
time.
don't even take anybody. When you go to record, handle your business. Go to record, do your thing. Don't be bringing the whole community. Matter of fact, I saw a clip on YouTube recently where people was asking Snoop Dogg a question because Warren G was being interviewed. I think it was on the Breakfast Club, and he was just saying that basically, I guess he introduced Snoop to Dr. Dre, and it seemed like he just out the picture, so to speak. He made a comment. He said, "I don't even want to get paid. I just want to come around, hang around, or whatever." He said. And so they asked him, "Did he have a ticket to the Super Bowl?" He said, "Yeah. Snoop gave me a ticket, but I didn't even get backstage. To the at the Super Bowl." And
Right.
so then so naturally, like they, people sometimes get messy, you know. So they turn around and ask Snoop about it. They say, "Yeah, we heard the Warren G, whatever, didn't get a chance to this, get a chance to that." So Snoop has some excellent answers, just like he got the excellent answer for why he performed, doing that around the time of the inauguration. He has some of the best answers out here for stuff. He gave an example. He asked the host, he said, "Do you bring anybody to work?" They said, and the lady said, "No." They asked the guy, "You bring anybody to work?" He said, "I bring God to work." He said, "Well, that's what I mean." He said, "So when I'm getting ready to go to work, go in the studio, Am I supposed to say, okay, guys, I'm going to work. Come on, let's go. You go to work and do your work. So that was an excellent answer. But we kind of know, that it could have went a different way. I'm gonna just put it that way.
Well, what happened to
Right.
me? What happened to me? When I was with Joe and I was writing a song for one of the Jacksons. I went over a friend of mine and we were writing the song. It was a guy sitting in the chair and he was sitting there drinking some wine. So me and the guy finished the song. So I went back up to the office. And so the next day, the guy that was sitting there drinking some wine, he said, "What's up?" He said, "What are you gonna do about me on the song?" I said, "What you talking about?" He said, "Well, I was inspiration." I said, "We call him Stretch." I said, "Stretch, you just sitting over there. You ain't said a word. You drinking that wine, man. You ain't said nothing." Well,
Yeah.
man, and so it got kind of heated. And
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
Jackson walked to my office. He said, "Man, I'm gonna put
You
him
gotta
out here. I'll
you
talk to
gotta
him."
go. Yeah, you gotta go.
But this is what Joe told me. He said, "Put his name on the copyright and just don't put the song out."
Wow.
And that's what I did. I put his name on the copyright and never recorded the song.
Yeah, that's happened before. That's happened to me more than once.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uncle Joe ain't playing. put his name on the song and we ain't gonna put it out.
Yep. He covered his ass. Yeah. Either way. Yep.
Yeah.
You think you slick? You got out slick.
Yeah.
It's funny
But man, I
how
want to discuss some of these photos you sent me. One at a time. Of course, the one I use is a nice picture of you in a yellow and black jacket. Kind of remind me of my fraternity, black and gold, Alpha Phi Alpha. But anyway, that's a
you can
nice
remember
photo.
that
And
so
then the next one that says
you can remember that far back.
next. it was only 50. It was only 52 years ago. Wasn't that far back? Only
Only.
52
Man,
years ago. Okay, so one of them
man,
is a picture of it says just World Movement Enterprises. You want to tell us a little bit about what that umbrella or whatever is about as I go through the other ones right quick.
the World Enterprise it should I say incorporates all my children. Uh, it's World Movement Records. It's World Movement Publishing. That's my two podcasts. I Am Indie and Kind of Play. It incorporates all my children. So that's basically World Movement. The television network, my 6 TV channels on Roku and Amazon, they're all under World Movement Enterprise.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through all the logos. You didn't send me anything about the TV network though, but let me just go through each picture at a
Well,
time. The next thing is World Movement Records. I know you got one of your artists on here, Jaysin Voxx. So you want to tell us a little bit about, is Jaysin your only artist? You have other artists on there?
no, right now we're primarily working with Jaysin Voxx, which is a super talented guy. He's almost more talented than I am. And
He
then we
said
have
almost.
and then we have Christine Renee, an R&B vocalist, a young female vocalist, is dynamite. You're gonna be hearing a whole lot from her in the next few days. Matter of fact, her single's out right now on all platforms called Crazy Love, and a video is dynamic as well. So that's our main focus right now, and I think that's enough with everything else that we have going on.
How
Trying to
long
make sure
how long have you had a label?
since 1990.
1990. Okay, okay. Yeah, I hear you. I started mine, and well, I started. I had my agreement in '82. I released my first record in '86. It was a remake of "Afraid the Masquerade Is Over" by David Porter. That was the first song, first record I released. Was an artist named Leland, and he now lives in South Carolina somewhere. But it was he did a song. He did that song "Afraid the Masquerade Is Over" by David Porter remade. That was the first thing. Okay, the next thing I see is World Movement Publishing. That's the next photo you sent me.
World Movement Publishing, actually, we started that and Can I Play the podcast at the same time. We released a book. We published a book by this author named Pretty Tony. It was called Play a Step Your Game. So Play a Step Your Game Up was basically a self-help book for men that talks about the do's and don'ts and all of the dumb stuff we do in regards to, females, things we do and things that we shouldn't do. Basically, it was a self-help book for men. And what we did with that book, we ended up taking chapters out of that book and using chapters of that book for episodes or shows on the podcast. So that's how I actually started the podcast, by taking should I say chapters out of the book and turn that into a segment on the podcast. So it helped me get a publishing deal, the book, and it helped me get more into the radio talk show host, which I never did before. World Movement Publishing. Since then, we published multiple books for people. The most recent was the Walter Dumas story. A young man had been trafficked since he was like 15 years old. True
Let me,
story. Go
let
ahead.
me ask you this: you mentioned Quincy Jones and famous people like that earlier. Speaking of hip hop, though, you had any experience with any hip hop related people, any hip hop labels or owners of labels?
Funny how we ran into some of the other people from Thump the other day, but I guess hip hop rap, I don't know if you remember, but we had Ghetto Hippie. We had that record called Ride and Low that went platinum for us. That was
I remember
released.
that. Now that you said that, I do remember that name.
Yeah, that's taking us back to Disney, which was actually Hollywood Records at the time. So yeah. So I mean, you got me jumping around, going back and forth, man. I'm trying to remember what's going on today, Kermit.
Well, I'm gonna get to today. You ever had any kind of communication with anybody from Death Row Records by chance?
Stop it, Kermit.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it.
Uh,
Okay, next.
you already know one of my associates, Harry O. Michael Harris. I know that's what you wanted me to say. So stop it.
Okay, next thing I have, it says World Movement Media. Tell us what role that play.
Well, World Movement Media technically, and it's similar to World Movement Enterprise, but it undertakes, like I said, some of the same things: the TV shows, the radio shows. Basically, we channel a lot of that through World Movement Media. It goes back to what my whole dream was, man, becoming a full service company. Come to World Movement, we got everything for you, from the publishing, from the record side, from the TV side, from the music video channel, whatever it is that you want to do, trying to do. We got people in place to make that happen.
Because the next photo you discussed already it's a picture of I guess the book Playology by Pretty Tony. That was the next picture I see.
Yeah, Playology, Play a Step Your Game Up. Who is she and what is she to you was all in that same trilogy.
Now here goes something very interesting. Something called Cooking with My Homies coming soon. Tell us a little bit about Cooking with My Homies.
Cooking with My Homies is a celebrity-based cooking show that we have on our table right now that we're going to be filming really pretty soon. Which it is sort of like an Arsenio Hall / cooking show where we invite artists that like to cook. And I'm sure your other guests online, they can relate to this. When you're out on the road, we got tired of hamburgers and fast food, so we try to, rent places that had a stove. And most of us know how to cook something if it wasn't nothing but spaghetti, pork and beans and hot dogs. You get tired of fast food. So Cooking with My Homies is a celebrity-based cooking show where we have people come in, they talk about their products, they get to perform whatever big song they're known for, and then we would transit into the kitchen. And they get to prepare whatever meal, their mama made or whatever meal that they know. Um, you know, uh, some of my other friends, Millie Jackson, Bobby Lyle. Unfortunately, Cuba Gooding Sr. passed away, but he had already agreed to do the show. Um, Vince Neil from the Motley Crue. who agreed to do the show, and we're still looking to do the show, and we'll be able to do it pretty soon because I'm in a better situation now. Like I said, we have our own cameras, we have our own TV network. I don't have to go out and ask people to help me do anything now. We could just film everything ourselves. But the premise of the show is to have people, I want to do all genres. I want to do R&B. I want to do, hip hop. I want to do jazz. And once I get the music people and get the show locked in, then I'm gonna open up to sports figures that know how to cook. I want people like Patti LaBelle that come on with her pies. And I hated that George Foreman Senior passed away because we had contacted him as well about his meats because he has a meat. But yeah, cooking with my homies is it's gonna be the bomb. It's gonna open up a lot of opportunities for people that can come on that like to cook. Some artists just like to cook.
Hey, Lamont,
Yes,
I
sir.
won't mention the name. I'm gonna tell you, I can tell you who can burn. And right now, if he was here, he might be here. And he say, John, hey man, I'm getting ready to fly her up. I say, Lamont, let's roll. That's Ron Tyson of the Temps.
Yeah.
Ron can burn. Yeah,
Yep.
get Tyson, man. Tyson can burn, brother.
Yeah, see, he would be perfect because he can come on and talk about his time with the Temptations and going there and cook and one other thing we're going to talk about with the show is we're going to have like a note or a tablet or something under the in-house guests where they could if this thing is underneath their seat, they'll be able to come up on stage and cook with their favorite artists. So that's going to be cooking with my homies. So I'm really excited about getting to that. Again, I'm in a whole different situation than I was when I first started.
Yes, it sounds very interesting. I actually had a chance to meet Cuba Gooding Sr. Were you up there, John, when they had the rap party in New Jersey for that movie that Cuba Gooding Sr. was in and Joe Jackson was in? I forgot if you were there or not.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I was up there. But no, I know Cuba's Senior. I know he could burn a little bit. We did a couple of tours with them. He could go. Hey,
Well,
I think could Londi cook? I talked to her not too long ago. Could she cook?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Because her and Brenda Lee Egger, they promised they'll cook me some fruit cake. So I'm gonna hold on.
as just like Millie. Millie was sending me my that's my heart. Millie
Oh, that's
Harris.
my girl. Yeah, I love some Millie's,
She
man.
was
She's
she
something
was
else.
sending me fruit cakes every year. And I got upset because I didn't get one last year. And she said she only made one, man. But Millie's fruit cakes, man. One slice of that cake, you done. You done.
Brenda Lee
You
Egger,
done.
same way, man. They burn, both of them can burn some fruit cakes, man. They serious, real serious. So
Well, I bet hers wasn't drunk like Millie's is, because one
oh,
slice of cake, you be faded, bro.
Millie's a whole different conversation, man. Me and
Be
her, we
faded.
spent an hour on Millie.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to her yesterday. She called and cussed me out for a couple of minutes.
Tell her I don't know if she's aware if Spalding Settle passed away. I don't know if she's
Okay.
aware, but she would know.
All right. Well, yeah. I'll
He was
probably,
from Cleveland.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next photo I see is the Walter Dumas story, and the top is a little bit cut off, but it says something suffocation.
Right. That was a book that we published recently. He was a young man that I told you that was trafficked that had been passed around through the OK Boys ones, which I said is a true story. That's what they were doing with those young boys. They was passing them around amongst corporate executives to those pedophiles. But we published his book, which again is a true story, and we're looking to film that movie pretty soon because it's a dark subject, man, but it's still going on existing today. Today, it's one of those things that a lot of children and young adults are abused, and they've been shamed not to talk about it and tell people about it. But I feel like if we talk about it and keep it out there, man, we might be able to help some of these kids that's been abused. There's some sick people in this world today. So that's really why I decided to publish that book. Like I said, we're going to do the movie.
Okay, the
In the
next
same
thing
way,
is the word creations with a start with a K and end with a Z. Creations with a yellow microphone and a music note coming out of it. What's that about?
Creation is our music video channel, similar to MTV. So Creation is our music video channel where we accepted music videos in all genre. So Creations also is on Amazon and Firestone for the artists out there that got the heat. Bring it to Creations. So we can see what you got, see what you do, and we can make it happen.
Speaking of music videos, so if somebody want to put a video on your channel, they get in contact with you through the website. They can go to worldmovement.com and who they need to contact if they want to put something on your network.
The easiest thing for them to do is call the office, which is 323-957-7322. That's our office phone number. They could also
Okay,
send an email.
repeat it 3 times and say it slow because some people are going to be seeing this on YouTube and other platforms. And then you can also put it in the chat for the people that's here on Zoom. Or
the phone
somebody
number is, stop talking, sir. The phone number is 323-957-7322. Again, that's 323-957-7322. I'm again, 323-957-7322. That's the Office of World Movement Records, World Movement Enterprise. We all right there. So that's the phone number. You could also email me at lamont@worldmovement.com or info@worldmovement.com. Everything is World Movement. We don't have no generic Gmail address or Yahoo or World Movement. Moving the world with our music. That's who we are.
Okay.
Great. That's great.
Let me see what I see next. Let's see what we got coming here. Next, okay, after Creations, I have Who's Funny Comedy Show. Now, I happen to see part of that. That was funny. So at least you got something that I can enjoy, make me laugh. So tell us about Who's Funny Comedy Show and tell us about it.
Well, who's funny? Let me see. I was one of those guys. I like what Keenan Wayans did with In Living Color. I've always enjoyed that, and I've always enjoyed the fact that he had a situation that developed other comedians. Other comedians had grew up. Jim Carrey, Jamie Foxx. All these guys came out of In Living Color. So when I got my television channels, I started looking around at all the drama that's going on in the world today and how I was feeling. Like, I got hung up in the politics and all stuff. But anyway, I started thinking, people need to laugh more. They need to laugh more, and so they don't be depressed, man. You feel people doing all kind of weird stuff. I had the opportunity to work with guys like Bill Bellamy on Bel Air. I've been on the Neighborhood Cedric show numerous amount of times. And Cat Williams used to work for me once upon a time. So I started thinking about now that I have a television channel, why shouldn't I do a comedy show, and why shouldn't I give up and coming comedians a platform? Between Roku and Amazon, there's 290 million viewers. So why shouldn't I do that? So we came up with Who's Funny. For the last couple of years, it's been going great. We've had some great comedians on there. One of my other friends, Joey Medina, he's helped a lot. You guys may know Joey. He's from the original Latin King of comedy. Great producer, director, got great movies out. It's been won 30, 40, 50, 100 awards last year or so for, his movie direction and production. But
Okay.
we have that comedy show, and then we have Make Me Laugh Monday, and then there's several other comedy shows. So I tell everybody, go to World Movement Enterprise on Roku and Amazon, and just click through. We got something there for everybody. It's just like Hulu, Netflix, Tubi. The only difference is it's black owned. Sorry.
Right. That's beautiful.
Okay, I want to holler at I want to salute DJ Ground Beef for getting on here tonight. This is my first time seeing DJ Ground Beef. I see Mike Calhoun got his favorite cat on the camera. Also, I want to shout out to Cool TLC, who is a rap median. You heard me talking about him earlier as Queen Karen's son. He's a rap median. I mean, he's a rapper and he's a comedian. So I'm sure he would love to be on your show and probably put some music and videos on your channel. So that's somebody probably want to work with you. Are you able to unmute Cool TLC or
Yes, sir.
DJ Ground Beef? Okay,
Yes,
go ahead,
sir.
Cool TLC.
Hey, what's happening? What's going on, sir? How are you?
What's going on?
Hey,
Hey,
man,
what's
trying to be
happening?
light skinned as usual. Just trying to do what I do. That's all. Yeah. I was checking out and hearing the stuff that you're doing, and I know you're in the LA area and stuff like that. And I was wondering in my mind, how far out do you reach? You know, because I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. Of course, I know you always have to make moves to go to LA, but how far out do you reach? You know, as far as in dealing with artists or comedians and stuff like that.
I've been around the world, and I.
Okay.
There's no certain thing now, man. It's not like it
Right.
was back. It's not like it was back in the '60s, where it take us
Right.
2 weeks to get a thing
Right.
across the pond. We
Right.
can do
Right.
it in
Right.
less than 10 seconds now. So
Yeah,
uh,
worldwide.
what I'm doing now on the television network is worldwide, actually. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't let the
Oh yeah,
moment,
I'm just trying to
don't
see
let
how
the
I can be
moment.
a part. And down, I know I'm funny enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know I'm
Yeah.
funny enough, and I got
Yeah,
skills. I
you
got
conf
skills and funny
you,
enough.
you confident too, I like
Oh
that.
yeah,
You got
I've been doing this for a long time. I ain't a new jack to this at all. I've
oh,
been doing comedy. I've been around the world twice. I done traveled with you name it. I done opened up for them. You name the comic. I done been there when they was broke. You know what I'm saying? So I've been doing this for a long time.
well, Lamont is
Well,
an icon, so you talking to the right cat.
yeah, we got, like I said, I put out my email address. You got the office number. I mean, just send us some information. If you got, a video, something, send it to us, man. So, we can see what you got. Me, you doing it like that, and you get to the point where you want to have a show or do your own comedy show, man, we can definitely engage that conversation as well, because I'm always looking for content creators.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh,
so
definitely. Yeah.
it's all about the growth, man. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah,
never
definitely.
heard of a comedian or a rapper name. I must say a comedian or entertainer name. You name it. Is that somebody new that I hadn't heard about? He said, you name it. He's on tour with them.
Hey, yeah, I done been the greatest thing. I'm just say the greatest thing, and this ain't about me and this is just not throwing what I done because I've done a lot. But the greatest thing to me was opening up for Al Green, not once, but twice. And we opened up the House of Blues when it first got to Cleveland, Ohio. It was me, Al Green, and Nas at 12 o'clock.
Hey man, you opened up a Kinsman Daz band too.
Yeah, I opened up for Ken's Dad Band. I done opened up for Patti LaBelle, Ron Isley, Queen Latifah, Snoop Dogg. I mean, I done it all. I ain't trying to brag. It's just I'm proud of what I done.
Yeah, Al Green got me in trouble freshman year in college, so I know about Al Green.
Yeah, and he wasn't.
Love and happiness.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him.
Uh-oh.
He was doing gospel, so when he was doing gospel, everybody start. It was funny because everybody started singing "Love and Happiness" and made him sing a little bit of it. He wouldn't go into it because he was on his gospel, but everybody in the audience started singing "Love and Happiness," and he started as soon as you heard that and he started doing that, and they just started breaking. But he said, "No, I can't do that. I'm gonna go and do my gospel." They was like, "Oh, saying so." Yeah, I just love to get on your platform, see what we can shake and make happen. You know what I'm saying? I think I got a lot to throw to your worldwide.
I'll definitely give
movement.
you and your mama Queen Karen information, the email, his Instagram, website, everything, phone number, whatever you need. There's no problem. The next
Okay.
photo I see is you look like your cartoon series. Your cartoon series.
Yeah.
Your cartoon
yeah.
series.
I'm really loving this. It's Catnip Chronicles.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of American Dad, Family Guy, Boondocks, even going back to Fritz the Cat, which is one of the first adult cartoons.
Yeah, Crumb. Yeah, Robert Crumb. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always been into that. And again, I mean, we got we got TV networks, we got outlets. So why not utilize what we have? So I'm playing Catnip. I'm the voiceover of Catnip, and then we have Ron Cole, who's a stump. He's Smelly Mel. And we got Foxy Fox. We got some characters. So I would just, again, tell everybody to just look it up, man, and you'll be surprised what we have going on now. It's going to be a new series that's coming out this summer, and again, it's going to be on Roku and Amazon.
Okay, the next thing I see is something called Rape, RAPE, and it's the initial shock, the Brigitte Harris story. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, well, Brigitte Harris was the young lady that you heard about, or that was in news, which again was a true story. She was the young lady that had been molested by her dad for many years, and she cut off his penis.
Oh.
She was out of Brooklyn, New York, and it was big news too. But she didn't do that. He passed away, but she wasn't doing it to kill him. She was doing it so that he wouldn't molest the granddaughters like he did her.
Okay.
She spent a little time in jail, and because the judge that heard her case, he was getting ready to retire, so he didn't take into consideration none of the trauma she had been subjected to, over the years. So he went on and locked her up, but as it turned out, some of the other city founders, they realized what he did and they understood, the trauma that she had been enduring all the years. Realized that she wasn't really trying to kill him by severing, his manhood. She was just trying to stop him from molesting the grandkids. So that's Rape, Initial Shock. It's available everywhere, book format, Kindle, wherever I'm using it.
Okay, the next thing I see is the player step your game up. You talked about that a little bit earlier when you mentioned the other one, but go ahead.
Well, that's a self-help book for men. I would encourage anybody and everybody, especially the men, to read that book, because when we came up with that book, Pretty Tony, we realized that a lot of men have forgot how to be men. They just forgot. Even today, you can see a lot of men don't even know how to change a flat tire. Man, I've been driving, changing flat tires before I had a big wheel. So, I don't understand that. So Player Step Your Game Up is really talking to our youth and men in general, how to get their nuts back where they're supposed to be, how to start respecting themselves. Why could you expect your woman to respect you and you cry more than she do? So that's pick it up. Player Step Your Game Up. It's available too. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's available everywhere as well.
Okay, the next thing is I Am Indie Show, hosted by Lamont Patterson, if you happen to know him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That cat, I don't know what's up with that cat. I heard he quit his job every day and start back the next. But I am indie. That's what it is. I am independent. I am indie, and it was a podcast, and that's what we talk about. We talk about some of the same stuff you're talking about right now, the music industry, the recording industry. We play artist music on that show. We try to give them some information. We try to impart some of the things that we went through prior to then up until now. So hopefully they don't make some of the same mistakes that we made, and chances are they're not going to make some of the same mistakes we made because they're a lot more should I say they're a lot more egotistical than we were coming up, because we had a tendency to listen to people that was trying to give us game and tell us what to do and what not to do. But I've noticed a lot of these young artists today, they got more ego than they got common sense.
Yep.
They want to tell you how things supposed to go. And my question is, man, I ain't never told somebody how to drive a car, and I ain't never drove one.
That's crazy.
And I think, what a lot of artists don't understand, and I tell them on my shows too, and I hope you got people out there listening now. The first thing you need to know is what you don't know.
That's right.
Lamont, one thing that we
That's great. Great line.
was I was talking to Melvin to the Temptations, before he passed. And we were just talking, and I'm not going to name the other group, but it was a group that's, pretty famous still to this day. But he was talking to the bass singer, and he was telling him how to sing bass. And the guy looked at Melvin and said, man, what can you tell me about singing bass? And this is Melvin Franklin, right? And I'm saying, is that these egos, you and I and Mike basically forgot more than they know, because we, like I said, we came up with that we experienced.
Oh yeah, man.
The experiences that we had on the road were serious,
Yeah.
that Chitlin circuit thing and all that stuff was for real. Like you were talking about manhood. I have a saying that any boy can grow into a man, but it takes a real man to grow into manhood. Or any girl become a woman, but it takes a real woman to grow into womanhood. Those are two different things.
And all that comes from you knowing what you don't know.
That's right. That's a good line, man. I love that line.
All that comes from you knowing what you don't know.
Yeah, that's classic.
Actually, I don't like being around anybody who acts like they know something when they don't know. Or the worst is when they act like they know everything, because that ain't true.
Yep.
Well, I think they came up with that cliche, well, you gotta fake it till you make it, but they're really not paying attention to what's going on in the world today. Because if they even looked at something as simple as the economy, they would know you can't fake shit now. Nobody's got no money. Everybody's pretty much on survival mode. So you can't come with no fake shit. If you expect to eat, you better come with something real, because nobody got nothing to waste for no reason.
That's right.
Nobody. Not even the billionaire. Not even the billionaires. The billionaires are scared because they don't want to stop being billionaires.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. They want a tax break. Yeah.
Oh shit. So you really got to keep it real. And that old stuff. Well, you got to fake it till you make it. No. Because guess what? Real people like me and the ones that's on this phone right now, man, we see that shit 20 miles away.
Man, a penny from $1 million is no longer $1 million.
Yeah. What was that one thing you said, LP, where you said as hard as you work to get it, they working just as hard to take it. Something like that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, that's why I love this man right here. He's a good mentor. I just want to jump in and say, definitely excited for this interview, because what we're doing at World Movement, like you were saying earlier with Cool TLC, is it's everywhere. It's it's with the world. So Lamont, he's a great mentor, and definitely got to check out what we're doing in the music industry, because we sticking out like a sore thumb, and that is the plan. Out of breath. That is the plan, so that people don't see us, coming until we in your face.
Absolutely. A sore thumb, huh?
Like a sore thumb, yeah. Let me show you this, what do you call it? The artwork. I think the artwork kind of says it all. Man, I just lost my screen. Boom. Anyway, there it is. Okay. Right? Little graffiti, a little bit of sensuality. I didn't grow up in the right era, but thanks to hearing all your stories and stuff, I feel like I can still enjoy it, and maybe we can find a way to bring some of that happiness, some of that love for music, some of that love for life back. But I didn't want to take over too much airtime. I just wanted to say thank you to the man, here on the screen, LP. We're gonna make it happen.
Well, with all the court activity going on these days, that's a little bit too much activity on that photo.
There's
Well,
never too much activity.
all I got to say is for the men that like the opposite sex, I don't think they got a problem with
Right.
No Diddy.
Hey, speaking of No Diddy,
Okay.
speaking of No Diddy, Mike, when I heard the title I Am Indie show, I figured I Am Indie must be the theme song for a Diddy party. I Am Indie.
Oh,
Now, if you keep talking that stuff, man, I'm gonna tell them about the pictures that we just turned up on you. So you need to stop that.
Okay, the last
You,
photo I want
you,
to discuss
you just,
before we get
you
into
just,
a little bit about Jaysin and some of the things you had mentioned earlier is the kind of play, and that's one of your you say join the conversation streaming on Roku and all of that. So that's another one of your shows. I mean, I know you mentioned a lot of them together, but I'm going to them one by one. That's the last one.
okay. Well, kind of play was actually a player on words because when I came up with the title for that show, and that show was created with Pretty Tony's books. The reason we came up with the title of that show is because, again, people don't think. When you hear "Can a Player Play," the first thing that you want to think about is some street stuff or some urban stuff. That's the first thing that want to go through your mind. But "Can a Player Play," I was looking at the guys like Khashoggi, like the Donald Trumps of the world, like the Elon Musks of the world. To me, those guys are the true players. They're the ones that's calling shots. Those are the ones that's making moves that affect everyday life. So
Right.
I started having those type of guests on the shows, head of corporations, head of self-help groups, uh, head of people that was going through domestic violence groups. I started having CEOs of companies on the shows because that's the ones that can affect change. It's no sense in having somebody on the show that can't help people or share experience or offer hope or
Right,
give direction on how to make their life better.
right.
I've had a lot of people come on the show and just want to share their stories. And the show grew dramatically because of my grassroots effect. No judgment, because what may be dysfunctional to you may be somebody else's normal. I had this one lady call in one day and she told me, if her husband didn't slap upside the head every day, he didn't love her. Where to me or some other listeners, we might find that's some crazy shit, man. Somebody hit me upside the head, it's going down. But you got other people in the world that
Yeah,
that
that's
see
normal.
see see love and
Masochist.
affection different, and they don't even know the root cause of that. They just say, well, he didn't slap the shit out of me, so I know he don't love me. And I'm like, okay, so I learned how not to be a judgmental, but just like try to offer um, another road, another
Yeah,
road, and
there
have
you
people
go.
that was dealing with domestic violence or had survived it to
Yeah.
come on the air, and talk to these people. But I still
Mm,
enjoy
yeah.
doing that show. But to have leaders in the
Hmm.
community, that's what kind of player play about. Because to me, those are the
Yeah,
true players, the ones that's making
yeah,
shit happen. Those are the
yeah.
players.
Right.
Okay,
Alternate route.
and the last thing I want to discuss before we get into Jaysin, who probably thought I was going to forget about him, but I wasn't. I want to read something that one of my co-hosts sent me, and a co-host I don't particularly care for because I don't like people that's smarter than me. So we're talking about Queen Karen G from Washington, D.C., mommy activist. She sent me this I'm about to read. And it's not about her son, the rap meeting either. It reads Lamont Patterson has appeared in several TV shows and films. Some of his notable roles include TV shows Rosewood, a, a comedy drama series on Fox Network, House of Lies, a Showtime special starring Don Cheadle. Hit the Floor series featuring Kimberly Elise, Franklin and Bash, The New Girls, Bench on ABC, Modern Family, Outlaws, The Last Ship on TNT, Criminal Minds, one of my favorite shows, Murder in the First, Agent X, starring starring Sharon Stone, Playhouse and Playing House with Kenny Loggins on the USA Network, films Initial Shock, the Brigitte Harris Story feature film where he served as a chief financial officer and soundtrack coordinator, a Nike commercial, Monster Jam, a commercial with Blake Griffin. And it's also worth noting that Lamont Patterson's primary focus is on music. And he has founded World Movement Records in 1990. He has worked with notable artists like Aaron Neville, Quincy Jones, Marvin Gaye. Shout out to Mike Calhoun, Marvin Gaye, and John Wilson. Marvin Gaye, Ike Turner, and Tina Turner.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember saying nothing about Marvin Gaye because I would have mentioned Mike Calhoun if you said Marvin Gaye or Ike Turner, Tina Turner. So since you know Ike and Tina Turner, go ahead and tell us one of those stories that never made the press before we go to Jaysin.
Tina Turner gave me my first mink coat.
Wow.
Tina Turner gave me my first mink coat.
Man, you gotta be crazy, man. Carmen, this is the baddest cat you ever had on your show. I've been listening. I've been on here about 10 years, ain't I, man? This dude is crazy bad.
Ike Turner
was Tina Turner gave you a fur coat.
Gave me my first mink coat when it was cool for everybody to wear the full length black diamond coat.
That's a true Mac.
She gave me my first.
Well, he said, "Can a player play?" So he out here playing,
playing and Macking too, man. That's a Mac. That's a Mac move, man.
Well, Ike Turner was the first one that showed me what a rusty bullet looked like.
A rusty bullet. Wow.
Yeah, I was recording over his. He had the studio over in Inglewood, Bolot studio. He had everybody over there. I mean, Jimi Hendrix, Shaka Khan, Buddy Miles. Everybody used to go to that studio. But anyway, my little brother and Ike Jr. were real good friends, and we was there recording. We're setting up to record. And I only had so much money, man. I only had money for like maybe 3 hours to record in there. That was with one of my first groups, actually. The group I had was called Element of Peace that Aaron Neville, helped me with in New Orleans. But anyway, we were recording some stuff over there at Ike's studio, and my brother and Ike Jr. was playing around, and they burned up an hour just trying to get the shit set up. So as it turned out, man, I went like an hour and something over the recording time. And when it went to come to get my masters, Ike told me I owed him more money. And I said, well, I don't owe you no more money. I got what I got. And I said, well, it was Ike Jr. that was delayed on, setting up because, he was in there messing around with my younger brother. So, I said, man, this is all the money I got. He said, well, Ike know better. He know how to set up the studio. He know how to run the studio. I said, well, call Junior in here and he'll tell you. He said, well, I ain't got to call nobody in here. I said, well, man, listen, all I need to know is, look, I got your money right here. I need my master so we can go. He said, man, I told you I need more money. If you don't give me more money, you ain't getting your tapes. I said, but before I said, but I looked around, man, and that's the first time I seen some rusty 38 bullets. It was put in my face, and you could see the chambers, the bullets around the chamber. It was some rusty bullets in there, man.
Wow.
See,
true story.
It's the stories that Lamont is saying is what we tell these younger artists of what we went through. I'm gonna tell you a similar story. I had just got through producing the Impressions, right? And so the person who hired me, who owned the label, still owed me $1,500, right? So, but luckily I had the masters and them. So they called me down on Sunset, the 9,000 building, right across from the Roxy. That's where his attorney was. So he said, John, I know you sly, slick, and wicked, but you just have now becoming, starting to become a producer, and you don't want to have no bad name. So, give me the masters. I said, well, look, I said, you still owe me $1,500, man. And he said, well, again, like I said, you're still a up and coming producer, and I'll advise you because we'll bad mouth you. I said, okay, I'll tell you this is what I'm gonna do. I said, I'm gonna take the masters and I'm gonna start walking west on Sunset until they start floating. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. And so they said, well, we got something in this drawer for you. I said, well, if you're gonna use that, you might as well get and use it because you're not getting the masters. You're right. And so they tried that on me. And so I walked outside and I heard them talk and they called me back in and they pulled out a check. I said, well, no. I said, give me cash. And the guy said, well, you know what I got in this drawer? I said, keep what you got in the drawer. I said, because you either can use it or you can give me my $1,500 in cash and I give you the masters. So they talked about it and they gave me the money, said, you got 15 minutes to get the masters. How far you got to go? I said, they're right outside in my car. I went out there and gave it, but that stuff is for real. Like,
yeah, it's for real.
Those are that Lamont and Mike and I try to tell these young artists, y'all got it easy compared to what we went through.
Yeah, but Lamont, Tina wanted you to knock that, dude.
Man, listen, again, I was
Come on now. Now you ain't gotta tell me you ain't got to kiss and tell, but that's Tina Turner, baby. And she bought you a fur coat. She was trying to get at Ike. She's like,
no, it was one. No, it was one of the
young
15,
brother here.
it was one of them 15. It was one of them 15 meat coats she already had. But
Oh,
listen,
but I'm saying, but she ain't got to give it to you.
no, that's true. That's true. But I was shy, brother.
Yeah, and she
I,
liked it.
I was
She was licking her
I,
lips, man.
I was shy, just like I am now. I was just a shy, quiet guy. I didn't
You was a
talk too much.
teenage. You was probably a teenager back then.
Yeah, too fast. Like I said, I grew up too fast, wanting too much too fast. I was one
Yeah,
of
but
those dudes.
Tina wanted you to knock that, dude. I'm telling you.
I'm glad
Yeah.
Mike
That's
mentioned it because I was gonna say if Tina gave him a shirt, that means that
a
I was
fur,
doing two
not a shirt, a fur coat.
yeah, a
A
fur
big
coat.
coat.
I'm sorry, a fur coat. That means that
A
I was doing
shirt.
too much recording.
He would have smacked the shit out of
No,
her.
they just came up in a time too where they just got too much too fast, and I
Well, you
watched
was
them.
you were
I
worthy of
watched
it.
them. I watched them with their kids, and actually, I ended up making somewhat of the same mistake. Man, we always try to do more for our children than our parents was able to do for us.
Go ahead,
So,
TLC. I know you
Yeah.
got something to add to this.
He wants you to
so a
knock
lot.
that
Oh no,
off. Knock it off.
I just wanted to ask Lamont because you said he was in Rosewood. What role did you play? Because I used to watch that. That was one of them shows where
Well, how you see it? You said you used to watch it.
listen, bruh. Listen, we ain't gonna go through that
I know.
because I ain't always been this way. So
Oh, I
please,
see. I didn't know that. Now
okay,
you gave me
yeah, I
some
ain't
good
always been.
information.
You know
Thank
I
you.
ain't always been this way. You know me.
I never knew that, my brother. God bless you, man. To God be the
Right.
glory.
But
Yeah.
but you said you was in Rosewood, and Rosewood was one of them movies. I mean, one of them TV shows that was like you good one part and you pissed off on the other.
It was a movie, yeah.
It was
Well, it was like to me a lot of those other ones, man. Like I say, to me, all those with Morris and them those guys,
Ving Rhames. Yeah, I remember that
uh,
movie, Rosewood.
it was all like on the job training to me, man, because everybody was all excited to be working with these guys, but I was so busy trying to find out how shit worked.
oh okay. Okay.
Because just being an actor was never my end game, just like it's not my end game now. I mean, being able to produce and direct my films, my production is my end game. It's just like a singer or a musician, man. That's
Mhm.
once you master that, that's something that you always can do, but that's not all you want to do, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Right. And
Yeah,
that was just when you was talking, when y'all was talking about it, I just wanted to comment. The problem with these young folks, it's not the fact, and I'm gonna just say this because I watched it 1,000 times, even talking to them. It's not the fact that y'all know what y'all talking about, and it's not the fact that y'all know. These young kids are so busy to be in the know that every time you see them, they already know. So
yeah.
they don't want to learn nothing because they process is I should already know this. So they fake it to make it is not knowing, but saying something that they heard is not factual because they ain't researched it. They just go and say it because somebody else said it.
Let them learn the hard way.
Right. No, it's not. It ain't even really learning the hard way. They're gonna have to learn anyway. But
Well,
it's
it's the
just
hard
when
the hard way if they don't listen to logic.
right, and then you got a lot of these kids, you got to think about it. A lot of these cats that do listen, and I'm just saying, come from single parent homes. So a lot of these cats is not listening to other cats tell them nothing because a lot of them got daddy issues. And we don't, and a lot of people don't take that in consideration, but that is something that a lot of these kids deal with, and they can't take the authority of an older cat telling them something because they feel like that's what their father would have did and they don't
Well,
have it and they grew up on their own. So they want to listen to themselves and not listen to, I'm not saying it's right because it's not right, but it's just knowing where they at. Because you got to deal
well,
with daddy issues and abandonment before you even deal with some of these artists. Because some of them don't even know how to be an artist and what it takes to even be an artist.
well, how about this? It gets even simpler than that. Common sense is not common.
Right.
Mhm.
Because if you had common sense, it would tell you what you know and what you don't know. But because
Mhm.
you don't have common sense, you speak when you should be listening.
Right.
And that's what I see in a lot of youth today. And that's doubling down on just what you said, but it goes back to just simple old horse sense, common sense. If you don't
Right.
know something, shut the fuck up. Somebody
Right.
might tell you.
Oh
Somebody just
yeah.
might tell you. That's why usually when I go to an event or a concert or a panel or whatever it may be, I don't talk. I listen because I want to fill
Yeah.
the room, man. I
Speak
could
when you're spoken
tell
to.
exactly. I could tell who the power players are. I could tell
Mm-hmm.
how they move in the
Yep, I
room.
do the
You know,
same thing.
they don't have to do all that old flash and all that boisterous stuff. Look at me,
Right.
look at me, look at me.
Right.
This
Right.
quiet's kept a lot of times. I don't want people to look at me. I want to lay back in the cut because
There you go.
I know when you're that guy, guess what?
Mm.
Responsibility comes with that. And when you get to a
Right.
Right.
point where you don't want to deal with all this so crazy responsibility, you just want to lay
Um,
in the cut. Because we've been there and done that, man. It's all
yep.
about for me right now, it's all
Yep.
about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, man.
I don't have to try to reinvent the wheel.
Oh
Why?
no, you
I
you
know it's
live in
I know it's round.
you live in the dream, not chasing it.
Right. We just live in a
It's
we live unfortunately we just live in the show me state where they don't understand what show and tell is. They really don't understand it because nobody gave them the blueprint. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have learned it. Nobody gave them the blueprint. And I'm just saying because I ran into it 1,000 times. When
Some don't wanna learn.
no, some of
You
them
know?
don't. But
Yeah.
sometimes being older, and I'm just say this too, because if you know, if
Hey,
you're a
hey.
father or ever been a
Yeah.
father, you a lot of times you can't come in playing daddy.
Yeah, but ain't no fool like an old
Right,
fool.
I get you. I get you. I'm saying, but you can't come in playing daddy. And a lot of cats do come in playing daddy. You don't know nothing. Shut up, I'm gonna tell you instead of having a conversation. Don't talk at me, talk with me. And that's
but
I see that a lot. Where you see an older cat that might say, well, man, you should do this, but you saying it from the fact that you did it. They didn't, but your demeanor is saying, like, why don't you know this shit? I don't know it. So how am I supposed to know it if you coming at me like I should know it? Don't come at me like I should know it. Make it a conversation because all they want to do is act like they invented the idea. And we, as petty people, as petty as older folks is, as petty as y'all is, and I can say everybody in this room has been petty. As petty as you is, You should know how to manipulate to get these kids to do what you need them to do, not what they want to do, what you need them to do. That's just me. I'm not saying this as in stone. This is just stuff I've seen over the years, and I fell a victim of it myself. So I check myself before I check somebody else.
Well, another thing I know, and I'm sure everybody on this call realize, we lost a couple, 2 or 3 generations of parents because of the drugs. We through the angel dust, through the crack, through the freebase. Now we dealing with fentanyl. We lost a generation of parents, so that caused a lot of these kids to have to raise themselves. Society has put them in a situation where they had to raise themselves so fast. And I can honestly say that because my upbringing, man, I got to be a kid. I got to play baseball, hit rocks with a stick,
me too.
take my old Union 5 skates and turn them into a scooter.
Yeah, man. Blessed.
I got to be a kid, before I had to deal with adult issues. These kids today have to deal with adult issues. They don't they don't get the opportunity to be children.
Right.
So that really screws them up right there, because you hear a lot of these kids right now when you try to tell them, or you try to tell them, well, you ain't my mama, well, you ain't my daddy. Well, you're right. I'm not. But guess what? You can go be with your mama, or you can go be with your daddy, because I'm not going to feed and take care of nobody that's not going to listen and live with my rules and regulations under my roof.
Right.
So, and a lot of these females, they don't want a guy to discipline their children, but they want this guy to give them a roof, buy clothes, give them food. But then you manage to discipline. Well, you can't hit my child, or the child say, "Well, you ain't my daddy. You can't tell me nothing." And I'm cool with all that. Go be with your daddy. And if your mama don't like me beating that, you know what? She can go with him too.
Right.
I don't have no problem with none of that. You know what I mean? But it's crazy. It's just a bad time, and I'll say it, and I'm gonna keep saying it again. A lot of people just don't know what they don't know. And if they start thinking about what they don't know, then they should be smart enough to go seek the information that they do know or want to know that's going to help them. And then that's when change is going to happen. You got to know what you don't know to go get the information so you can know. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
Oh, they said that on Schoolhouse Rock. Knowledge is power.
And as us, think about it. As us, we were the people that society did not even want us to learn how to read in the first place.
Right.
That's why, and if you think about it, they trying to take history out of schools now, right now, so the next generation won't know all the criminal stuff this country has done to certain people.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So it's amazing how people, they're not paying attention to really what's going on. I mean, how do you change history? History is what it is. The good, bad, the ugly. It is what it is.
Right. That's true.
Okay, cool TLC Mama want to make a comment too. In the meantime, with all you guys just running your mouth. Go ahead, cool TLC Mama.
Who learned you?
You know what I was saying.
Who learned you some manners.
What I was saying before
somebody put Mike Calhoun in the waiting room. Go ahead, Karen.
Who learned you?
Let them talk. You don't never let them talk, and see that's how he act, man.
I know. See, thank you, Karen. Go ahead, Karen. No. Queen Karen.
Let him talk more time, especially since he stopped putting his finger over the camera.
Yeah.
You know how to do
like I learned.
What I was saying,
you learned me.
Mainly is that it's the upbringing, the foundation from home. And kids don't have it. And when you spoke the truth about the drugs that took that away, you got a whole 3 generations going on 4 generations of kids that were just raising each other, living off of oodles and noodles, and not having any foundation. So when an older person comes to tell them something, they don't want to hear because they already think they're equal to that person. So the level of respect is not there because they just didn't have it. They raised itself. Parents went to jail. They stayed in public housing. one stayed in somebody's house, and until somebody else say, well, they have to move out, they go somewhere else, they living in the laundry rooms and things like that, you know. And then it's this generation that comes up where parenting seems to have to feel like they have to beg a child, like, do this please, or don't say that please, you know, and different things. I noticed that with people now. They
Yeah,
talk to
true
their
that.
children like that and tell them, close the door, please, or didn't I ask you not to say that, please? No, close the door and don't say that. Like I tell my granddaughter, you know, you do what I say or you're going to get a 1-2. And 1-2 mean 2 hard slaps on her butt. She told everybody that
Okay.
on Instagram already, though. But,
All
you
right.
know, the thing about it is the discipline they don't have in the beginning. And to
Well,
try to
think
be
about
now, that's what it
Queen,
is.
Queen Karen. Think about a time when, at least for my family, my mother used to look at me, and I know to go sit my butt down somewhere, because if
Yeah,
I
you know
didn't,
it. You know it.
whatever she could put her hand on at that time was coming toward my head.
And my
Hit
mother
Whatever
it,
it
was a
was,
little woman. My mother was
whatever.
a little woman with
what,
a little hand that was like a cinder block. So I wasn't playing with her. I wouldn't, she
and
say no, or even if I thought the answer was no, I did what, you know, you thought you're going to do. These kids don't have that now. And if you use
no,
something like that, they use something like it's an abuse then, you know.
yeah, but look, when we was in school, we used to have to get SWATs. When I was in junior high school,
Yeah,
we did something in school, we'd have to go to the PE teacher, gym teacher, and he'd get out the paddle and he'd tear
yeah,
that butt up. And then when we
yeah.
got home, guess what? We'd get that butt tore up again.
Look,
Guess
I ain't
what?
never
When
had
we
that
went,
trouble because I wasn't
when we
having it.
went, when we went to school the next day, they didn't
Yeah.
have no issue out of us. But
Right.
That's right.
the problem started beginning when they started taking discipline out of the schools, when they started
Right.
taking discipline out of the home. Because when you
Right.
beat your child's butt at home, like you said, they can start hollering abuse, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
I used to tell my kids, okay, well, if you'd rather go be in a foster home, then so be it. But you're gonna follow my rules and regulations here, because that's how I was raised, you
That's
know. But
true.
society did that. They took the discipline away from the parents. And I used to tell my kids, what would you rather have? Me beat your butt, or would you rather police kill you? Because that's what's next. You know,
Yeah.
if you don't discipline your children at home, then the next thing they go to, they get out there in the
Right.
street, and the police will kill them. They ain't gonna play with them. You know what I
From
mean?
jail to hell.
Okay. Okay. Speaking of discipline, let's talk about Jaysin for a minute because he needs to be disciplined.
Who
Hey
need to
man,
be
you
disciplined? You say you need to be disciplined?
yes,
Jaysin need discipline.
yes, he
But
does.
how I
Yes,
want to
he
start
does.
though. How I want to start with Jaysin though is
All right.
you know, like I say, he needs discipline and everything.
Thank
And
you, sir.
but you know, when I would text the flyer to people, or when we had him on the call before, and I would send it to people, they kept asking me, "Is that Vanilla Ice?" I said no, it's Justin Timberlake. I said if Justin Timberlake and Eminem had a baby, that's who he is. So tell us how you and
That's
Jaysin
crazy.
tell us how you and Jaysin hooked up, Lamont, and what has Jaysin meant to being a part of your company.
Well, let me see. Without talking for about another hour and a half about Mr. Voxx, he's actually a breath of fresh air. And I say that because having dealt with so many artists over the years and being one myself, I've become, I just got a problem with cats that um I guess is over egotistical, because they become a bad investment. It's hard enough to invest in yourself, time and energy in yourself, but to do that in another person, and especially the way times are today, loyalty is it's a word that people don't use too often, and they don't really know what it is. I mean, there's nothing you could do in this music industry or any entertainment industry right now without a team. You
Right.
need a
Yeah.
team. There's nothing that you could do in this business by yourself. And a lot of times when you come and put together a team, everybody's not always pulling the same way. Everybody's not pulling the same way. Everybody got their own agenda. Even though they lie and they say that they with you, but they really not with you. They with themselves. They're not with
Mm.
you or the team effort. So to find an artist that has really been through some things, and you really have to go through some things yourself to come full circle to appreciate a team. You know what I mean? Because you just have to go through the ugly things. But since I've been working with Mr. Voxx, he's a super talented young man. His head's in the right place. I see nothing but great things for him, and I sure Herman does too, even though he talked to all of us crazy. But
Yeah, a little bit.
it's
This is
you
MO.
know yeah, it is, and I have to tell him about himself every other day, but he know I love him, and he's one of those guys that you could be mad at for about 10 minutes, but if you know his heart, that's gone anyway. You
Oh
can't stay
yeah.
mad.
Oh
You can't
yeah.
stay mad at
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah.
He's a jewel. He's one of a kind. But back to Jaysin. I've dealt with so many artists over the years, man, and I keep going back to the thing that Quincy told me about that ego thing, man. If
Oh
you
yeah.
smarter than, if you know more than me and you could do more than me, then you don't need to be with me.
There you go.
If I can't tell you nothing, well, I'm not gonna waste my time, man. I'm got too old for that, man. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm not trying to
Right.
make nobody do nothing they don't want to do. So I start out my whole thing with artists nowadays. I ask them, who are they? What do they want to do? And it's important that you see that their 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 dreams and their mission aligns with yours. Because if it don't align with yours, then you guys, you really kind of waste each other's time. It's going to be a crash, a dead end at some point. And
Right.
I mean,
Right.
who wants that at some point, man? Time is
Right.
the only thing in life that we can't put back. We can put money
Right.
back. We can put
Exactly.
cars and toys back. We can put all that stuff back. But after today's gone, gentlemen, you ain't gonna never see the day again.
Never.
I want to say that with Lamont, we did 2 tours together, if I can remember. And New Birth, it was like just on stage with 12 or 13 of y'all on stage at one time. Okay, right. We carried 8 because we sing group and carried 8 pieces behind us, but New Birth was again 12, 13, 14, and 15 of y'all. And so that first tour we did with y'all, again, what was us and y'all and OJs and Dramatics, you talking about moving 100 people, from one city to the next. And we all had to work as a team. Even though we're in different groups, we had to work as
Yes.
a team. And then that last gig we did together, if I remember right, we was all at the Kansas City Royal Stadium. It was y'all, us, Count Basie, Isley Brothers, Ohio Players, B.B. King, Cannonball Adderley, Freddie Hubbard.
You
And
got good memory.
yeah, right, because
So do.
right, because somebody else will, how I remember that, because again, somebody put up
Oh.
about the jazz festivals we used to do, and I was looking at the lineup. This is not too long ago, and I said, "Yeah, well, wait a minute." Well, that's how I can basically remember the lineup. But my point is that we all moved as a team, okay, as a group, even though we were in different groups, and we all
Right.
respected each other's,
Talent.
abilities, and we didn't, crack on one another, whatever. And in fact, there's a movie out, Lamont, on us called The Sax Man. All right. And there is there's a part in there, I think it's you and Baker are sitting in the dugout as we're walking in at that stadium.
I
So
gotta go see that.
yeah, it's on, you can get it on Tubi or whatever. But this is the gig I'm talking about. And you can see Baker, and what was y'all's manager? And I think you're in that shot. Okay. But my point is that we all moved together. And just like with Mike and the Daz Band, we all moved together. Okay. Yeah, the sax man, Jaysin.
Okay.
And I'll bring up and put the trailer in the video. We'll get through. So what he's talking about, and then also too, there's those saying it takes a neighborhood to raise a child. And if I was up to Lamont's house playing and I was acting up, Mrs. Patterson gonna call down and say, Miss Wilson, John's up here acting up. And my mother say, well, Miss Patterson, you tear him up there and we'll tear him up when he gets down here. you
That's
know.
what happened.
And that's what's
That's what
missing at this
happened.
point. Absolutely. But he's carrying his, his saxophone. When I first started playing, I'm carrying my trumpet through the snow and everything. But it was still, a neighborhood, and it was still camaraderie. And just like you said, getting them swats, And in fact, when I got to theory, when I got to college and I was taking theory down to Tri-C, our teacher would lock us in. He didn't care when we had a class, a next class. We doing music theory, Dr. Cumberland, I'll never forget, he would lock us in. And if we didn't finish our assignment, he didn't care. That's what's missing today. That's what's missing today. So
well, hopefully at some point, we'll get in a position where we could actually put I don't know. I keep going back to society, man. When they start taking music programs out of school, you remember we used to have instruments at school, and you'd sign a note, and you'd get
Oh
your
yeah,
act passed, and we had that, man. But
Really?
I watched them take all the music programs out of school, and if you didn't come from an up and mobile family, you didn't have an instrument. If your
yeah.
family wasn't musically
Or,
inclined, you didn't get it. You
or
know what I mean?
church.
I have
Or
to this
church.
I have to
Yeah,
this day, my mother and father could not afford to buy me a trumpet. You know,
yeah.
I played those old beat up school horns, man, and then, man, again, little tears getting ready to come out. When I graduated from high school, my father saved enough money to buy me a trumpet, which I still have to this day. But we played beat up horns and beat up instruments, but we made the best out of it. You know, we made the best out. Like, Lamont, you playing the sax, the beat up corks and everything. You had to pay to make your own reeds and all that kind of stuff. I'm playing,
Yeah.
3C mouthpieces when I'm really supposed to have a 4C. But hey, we made the best out of what we did. But that's gone
Mm.
now, because when you picked up an instrument, not only did you learn to play the music, you learn to count, because you got to count measures and bars.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
you may even learn a little bit of different language, because you got to know Allegro, Andante, so you even picking up a little language
Oh
there.
yeah, the two turntables took us out, man. I mean, it's like
Me,
you can hire a DJ, give him $100 instead of $500 to the band.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
you remember I was just thinking about it. I was
Yeah.
just thinking
yeah.
about the saxophone days where me and Augie Johnson. I don't know if you guys remember Augie
Oh
Johnson
yeah,
from Side Effect.
I know Augie
Yeah,
Uh,
very well. Yeah,
Augie,
Chic. He
Augie,
worked with
Augie
Chic.
had
Yeah.
Side Effect. Mickey Howard came out of Side Effect, but Augie and I were in band together, man. We used to sit up there and mess up so many horns by pouring milk in the bells and shit, just doing dumb stuff. But we was really trying to go into really more of the singing stuff at that point instead of just playing a horn. Because what do we have? We had Coltrane and we had Maceo Parker, the Horny Horns, but we didn't have Kenny G. We didn't
yeah.
Yeah.
have we didn't have that. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
Junior Walker.
Junior Walker,
King
we didn't
Curtis,
have
King Curtis.
Yep,
absolutely. We just had this straight ahead jazz cats, man.
you're
But
right. Right.
Augie,
Charlie
man,
Parker.
yeah, I miss Augie, man.
I was with
That was
Augie.
my boy.
I was with Augie 2 days before he passed. I was at the picnic. It was me, him, and Charles
Wow.
Wright. Yeah, me and him and Charles Wright was all together. Wally Roker. We was all together, and
Charles Wright.
yeah,
Charles
we was
Wright.
all together. I got pictures. Like I said, man, I put my stuff in. I've seen those pictures. But
Yeah.
what happened?
Herman had him on the show.
But my point is that like I was saying, is Augie. I was with him 2 days before he passed. You know,
Yeah.
Oh
but
Well,
man.
he had the
we went through school together, Augie and I. He had a car a little bit before I did because he's like 6 months older than me.
yeah.
I try to get Augie to go out with the Temptations, man, and he wouldn't go because he wanted to do he wanted to do Side Effect,
He had
and
LA,
I tell
LA he had the LA boppers too, right?
he had the boppers,
Hmm.
and I told Augie, I said, man, go out with the Temps for a while, man. I mean, that's the legacy, man. You could have that, and then you could come back and do Side Effect.
Yeah,
But he wouldn't go. He wouldn't go. So he did Side Effect, and he did all right because he came out with Always There and
right.
Keep That Same Old Feeling, and it turned out all right, man. You know,
Mm.
Toy, I still talk to Toy because she's like my niece, his daughter.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Mickey in a minute.
I talked to Mickey
But
not too long ago, and Nicholas,
but
Nicholas is a chef now.
yeah, but I thought about contacting Mickey lately. Matter of fact, to do one of my shows too, to open up for one of my shows. But I'll put.
She's on Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't got around to it, but I will at some point. You know what I mean? I let everybody do their thing, but I'll get around to it.
I cut some tracks on her, and she's really, a lot of people. Mickey is probably one of the greatest artists I've ever worked with. Everything basically is one take with her.
Yeah, she's always been good.
Yeah, she's awesome, and a beautiful person, a beautiful spirit, man. She's like, she's like a sister.
I go way back with her before the kids was even born. You know what I mean?
I used to have put Nicholas on my lap. He was like 2 or 3 while I'm cornering. She's holding Brandon and singing in the mic.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart, man.
Sweetheart. Yeah, I met her. She's sweet.
You know what's crazy about how y'all talking? And I mean, it's not crazy, not mean crazy like outrageous and nothing like that. What I mean by crazy is, because when y'all went to school, music was abundant. They had music in school. I was in the era that watched it die. And I was mad at it because I watched them kill the music classes. And they killed the music classes. I remember a teacher said, one of them hateful teachers. It was a hateful teacher because I already knew he was.
Yeah, public
and
school.
he had said they need to get rid of music so y'all won't have no talent. And I'm young, so I'm not really comprehending what he's saying. I'm young. I hear you saying it, but I'm not really getting what you're talking about. Cause I'm like, man, you old, you don't probably do nothing anyway. You ain't even into music because you teach math or something. And I watched them just kill it, and it was like they took it away from us. They took all the instruments out of school. Then they deterred the kids from even playing instruments because kids, it's like they killed the culture of that. So we wouldn't get another Funk Brothers, or we won't get another. These brothers don't exist no more, or like y'all, they don't exist no more because they wanted to kill that. And our generation, the next generation, with the turntables and the DJs, because it was easy to do that, and it's still a talent. Don't get me wrong, it's a talent for some of these DJs because they can put stuff together. They're not producers, but they can put stuff together to make it's an intellectual property that they do with the music. But it's just not the same as playing music. And a lot of these cats don't play music. They only play, the 12 notes in music they think it is. There is no half stepping in music no more. There's just one beat through the whole thing. There's no bridges. I watched it die. And it's still people bringing it back, but it's still not enough of the older cats because, everybody mad at everybody. And I'm not saying that y'all are. I'm just saying everybody mad at everybody. And nobody wants to sit down and listen to nobody. So it's a whole bunch of rooms talking, but ain't nobody listening.
But what did they do? When they took out the music, they gave y'all computers. And when they gave y'all computers, guess what? People learned how to sample. So they didn't have to go learn how to play. They didn't have to go learn how to read music because they learned how to sample.
Yep, they got lazy.
They learned how to sample.
They gave us. Yeah, they gave.
So when the computers jumped in there, you know what I'm saying? They like, okay, y'all don't need to learn how to play these musical instruments. We want y'all to learn how to work on these computers. So when the computers started kicking in, guess what? Then they started learning how to sample stuff. So they really didn't have to come back. The larger colleges, they had music programs and they had marching bands, but not from the elementary, the junior high school. I don't even know if they even call it that anymore. But from the elementary, junior high to the high school level, those 3 steps where we had, like I said, beginning instrument, where we learned the instrument, where we had harmony classes where we had to learn that. We had chorus, a choir. We had those things that they took away, man. So
public schools.
it's crazy.
I
They
just
know
want
how
to
to
say,
kill us from the inside, and we wasn't smart enough to see what they was doing. We just went along with the status quo. You know what I'm saying? The basics is always going to be the basics to me. I don't care what you rename it to. I don't care what you say. The basics is the basics. It don't change just because you put a new name on it. It don't mean that you just put a name on it. It's still the same thing. And I think a lot of people get caught up into that because, you know, all the kids want the latest and greatest. They don't know how they don't know. We live in a microwave society. So they don't know how, and even with the microwave society, they even faster than that. They don't even let the food cook. The food say 5 minutes. They want to take it out in 2 minutes. Like,
man,
let it cook.
I can say that not all kids, because I was fortunate enough to grow up in the Bay Area, and I met a man named Keith Martin, and rest in peace, because he's no longer with us. And if you look him up, he was discovered by Boys to Men, and they put him on Columbia Rough House. And he taught me how important it was that to make a demo into an actual hit, you had to have real instruments on it. So I feel you, but you know, at the same time, I'm a positive kind of person, and so I always want to look to the future and how can we make it better. Actually, a lot of this discussion we're having right now is part of how we make it better. You know, part of all the social media like push to always be putting out content that a lot of times is so curated it's not real is part of the problem. Like, you know, what LP was saying, they have you on the computers so that now you're sampling. But if we make it clear that this music is so much better when you got live horns, when you got live, and I played a lot of, most of the money I made, like someone said earlier, you know, they pay a DJ, you know, $100, 150 instead of 500 for the band. I mean, luckily I was in some touring bands that did international music, 15 pieces. And man, there's no better music than that, you know? So I just want to put out a little positivity and say that at least for me, you know, I grew up understanding how important those live instruments were. Keith got me into understanding notation. You know, I played a little bit of keys. I'm just not as good as most of the people around me, so I stay in my lane. I write hits. But yeah, on a positive note, I think we can change it. I don't think that social media is a good thing when it comes to what it's doing, but we can actually use it as a tool to make people care about the right things again. Anyway, that's too much philosophy, I know. But that's just
I mean, I get you. I'm not don't get me wrong. I'm not negative on none of this because I just came, like you came from the Bay, I came from Cleveland. So it's just two different situations that you live in that show you the difference. I'm not negative at all because I want to make sure that they understand it. But I'm gonna be the dude on the other side say, but remember this now, because they forget so quickly to what they need to do. And that's just me. I'm not negative about it. I'm just pointing out the fact because I want to see them move positive. I want to see them grow. I want to see them move on. But if you don't know where you came from and understand where you came from, how you gonna get there?
true. You gotta have a foundation. I feel that.
You're never gonna get there. So I just want to put them in the lane because I see a lot of these young kids. They want to do it. When you get them by themselves, they want to do it. But when they with a group of people, it's hard to talk to them because they trying to impress the people they around.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. That's always been the problem. They want to do what everybody else is doing and nobody stands out. And the ones that stands out, they quickly call them corny. How is they corny?
Corny.
Because
Well, if you get good parents and they buy you an instrument and put you into a class, you know, pay for your classes, and then you can go to a private school. They never stop teaching music in the private schools and the Jewish schools. Only the public school.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And so your mother put you in church with that new guitar she bought you in the lessons, and voila.
Well, I mean, church has got a lot of instruments in there, you know.
There's ways to beat it. There's ways to get around it. Just, you know. Yeah.
I just got to convince you that I'm talking about the kids. I ain't talking about you. I'm saying I got to convince you there's a better way. And I'm petty enough to know how to manipulate you to make you do what I know you should do because I see the potential in you. You don't see it, but I see it. So as an older adult, I should be able to manipulate you to move you so you can move the right way.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm looking at.
Oh, yeah. You got to want to do it. Buy music books. stay around music, study. That's how you do it.
Right. I got to
You
give
just
you the idea. A young kid, I got to give you the idea and let you think that you created that idea. Because you'll
Okay,
do it
Cool
better
TLC, your
when I
mama
think
got her
you
hand up
create.
again. It's your mama time, Cool TLC. Give your mama a chance.
Okay, and let me just clear this up because this ain't my real mama, so y'all won't think that, you know what I'm saying? Because Lamont them don't know me. This is my extended mama, just like Kermit need a butt whooping, but you know they can't whoop older adults because that would be abuse. So I'm just
hey, look,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I hit guys with glasses on, so I don't know why that'd be abuse.
hey, you must have been a bully.
No, I must have I've grown up around bullies.
so you learned the
You
trick.
didn't like nerds. The nerds wore the glasses.
If you look at all,
No,
Michael, if you look at all the titles of all these shows, can a player play this, that, and the other about players and all of that? I mean, come on now. It's three things I read got to do with players and,
Mac.
guys that's, fly with the
well,
women.
see
Go ahead, Queen Karen.
what you fail to realize, Herman, there are levels of players like there's levels in life. It depends
Yeah.
on the
Yeah, obviously
Oh
you're
my
on the
level you
highest
God.
want to
level because
remain
True.
on.
you're on the
True
highest level
that.
because you're talking so smooth we can't even hear you talk half the time.
True
Go ahead,
that.
Queen
True
Karen.
that.
One
Yeah.
thing I do want to say about this younger generation, don't
Experience.
underestimate them because a lot of them have gone to college and they've been educated in music and they can read music. They just don't have the opportunity to use it because I guess it doesn't seem in their lane that they go in. But a lot of them are more intelligent than you know, and you don't know it until you get them by themselves or get them on an interview and they open up to you, but
Yeah.
they're not given the opportunity to do that thing unless they're at the higher level of promoting and corporate and things like that. And they
Yeah, they're gonna be all
introduce it.
right.
And those are the ones that I want to embrace to be able to bring the other ones in because that's inspiring to some of them because it'd be amazing. Like you could read that, you could do that, or that. Then they know they have to learn what independent artists entails because all of them want to be independent. Like a lot of people used to say they don't want to work for nobody and work for themselves and all that kind of stuff going on. But you have to learn somewhere and you have to learn from somewhere, and hearing Jaysin, talk about it is refreshing to me
Thank you.
because I hear a lot of OGs, original gangsters talk about this and talk about their legacy and talk about teaching, but they don't do it in a sense that you do it, Lamont. They do it in just working their lips, and that's not enough.
Right.
Follow up to it. There's something that goes to that. I've heard a lot of them say that they're going to take it further and they're going to do things, but when it's time to put the, pedal to the metal, they in the back seat.
There you go.
And they shouldn't be. But a lot of these young kids, don't underestimate them because they got it, but they have to get it through something that they can relate to.
Well,
They'll be all right.
That's just my nickel in that dime because I appreciate Jaysin coming in. He's fortunate to have you and to have had mentors that wanted to teach him some value in this industry.
Amen. Appreciate
you can get so sidetracked. I've seen it. Being a fan first, and being here in DC when we had Howard Theater when all the greats came through. How addiction and different things took a lead over their talent and they got used.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's changed. And I think that us talking about it or me listening to it and there's nothing that comes to fruition is useless. We all say what's wrong, but what's the solution? What's the real solution? And once you do, and we have solutions in this room, but very few people interact or take action. And that's like I used to say, that's what I got to say. That's my story. And I'm sticking with it.
Then you're the problem. If you're part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
I approve this message.
There you go.
Actually, on the strength of what Queen is talking about, LP, the man that's on this call, I invited, that's DJ Ground Beef. We do a thing every year. It's called National Night Out. Well, he does, and I'm just fortunate enough to be invited as one of the performers. Maybe LP, you and I could do something along the lines of like showing how important, I don't know, could we get some live instrumentalists so that they don't always see people like me performing the track with just a few dancers. Just to throw it out there, just something popped in my head,
All right.
If I'm allowed to be included, I'd be I guess the only female OG in it.
Yeah, are you in the LA area?
I'm in DC.
Oh, DC. Okay, yeah. Well, they do National Night Out because, national, and it's to support our law enforcement, firefighters, schools.
I could always be a part of it virtually,
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, my man right there, DJ Ground Beef, he is one of the organizers for that in Florence Henderson. Oh, I'm sorry, Florence. Yo, Beef, can you speak up? Anyway, for like downtown LA, that area, and that's usually, I've done it for 3 years now.
Right.
Yeah. So, and they do giveaways for the children, and it's pretty weird. I have to say this because I actually put it on a social media post, and you're going to love it, is that it's the only time you want to be surrounded by that many police officers.
That's funny.
And that has to be a real good cause for me to want to be surrounded by them.
There's a lot
that
of
many
them
police
there.
officers in a player can't play then.
No way. You got to be careful. I guess.
They players themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I was just finna correct Kermit on that. Who else that could arrest somebody and don't go to jail themselves?
Right.
Right.
Now that's the real player, right?
That's
there.
real
You know what I'm saying? I tell everybody the people that created the game also created the rules.
Right.
Shout out to DJ Chill that just jumped on here too. He has the largest music platform on the Clubhouse app. So every Monday and Wednesday, 8 o'clock.
Chill, DJ
Time,
Chill.
Friday, Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern
Whip
time.
it, baby. Whip it
Freestyle
right.
Friday. Freestyle Friday on Friday.
Whip it
Freestyle
all
Friday.
night.
It's Freestyle Friday if he's not pissed off that day. Then it's going to be Talk on Friday.
My gosh.
Is he related to you?
What?
I was asking, was he related to Kermit?
Who? DJ Chill?
Yeah, that's
Close to the screen now.
I think I heard somebody say he played music unless he pissed off and then he talks about people. So I thought that might have been Kermit or something.
right.
Funny on Pet Party. Yeah.
That's because Kermit ain't get a lot of butt whoopings when he was little.
He also did Queen Karen's logo for a Pet Party too. He and his wife.
He did. I was trying to put it up. I couldn't get it up.
Nice.
All right.
Sure did. But he got a good thing. He's a bad mixologist. He's the mix master. He does a lot of good things on that Freestyle Friday. It started 10 o'clock and it go till whenever he get tired and everybody tired.
That's love. Yeah.
I think Jaysin,
when his wife tell him it's time to go to bed, that's when he stopped.
Yep.
Yeah, as soon as the paper start running in the morning, he'd be like, "All right, y'all, let's shut it down." Like, bruh,
right.
it's already
time
the
to
morning.
go to bed. I got that.
I might as well just get up and just go where I'm going anyway.
Wow.
Okay, well, I'm gonna play this hit single, but I want to ask Jaysin or Lamont a question. Okay, Jaysin, you already had a #1 record on digital radio tracker. You already been in Billboard magazine. What's next for you?
Well, I'd like to be on Digital Radio Tracker #1 for 20 weeks.
That's not going to happen. They changed it.
Oh, fine. You asked. I would like to tour the world, though, and do some of this stuff that we talk about with positivity. I got a song out there called A Better World, which we still haven't shot the video for, but it gets a lot of good reception because it really, you listen to the first line, and it's all about, it always starts with just one person. So if one person does the right thing, and then the next person does the right thing, we can change the world, to make it a better world. So I'd love to tour the world on the strength of that.
Yeah, actually now you can only be #1 for 5 weeks, and the last person to do that was Warren G and Ty Dolla $ign. Artist BBY would have been 5 weeks, but those K-pop guys knocked her out for 1 week.
Well,
so
we
watch the K-pop guys. Watch that K-pop.
Yeah.
The K-pop will get you.
All right now.
Hey, Jaysin.
Yeah.
What y'all doing with AI? I know you're doing all that automation, and I see that.
Hold on a second, Karen.
What y'all doing with AI?
Come and get it, girl. I heard you with it, girl. Come and get it, girl. Ain't nothing stopping, let's get dropping on the floor. So show me how you made, load it to Escalade. I wanna drive it through roll besides that you want it more. Ain't complicated, you can't get too faded. Cause I got some moves you're gonna need coordination for. I love it when I get you out of breath. I love it when that booty goes right to left. I'll get you out of breath. I'll get you out of breath. With your sexy body, come on, get that bad booty on the floor. Move it right to left. With your sexy body, come on, get that bad booty on the floor. I'll get you out of breath. Hey, what's up later on? Bring some friends along. I got a plan that's mad lavish around the way. We could go upstairs, baby, I'm down to share. I'll show my talent, you show your talents. Come on, let's play. Ain't complicated, you can't get too faded. Cause I got some moves that need your girlfriends in the game. I love it when I get you out of breath. I love it when that booty goes right to left. I'll get you out of breath. I'll get you out of breath. With your sexy body, come on, get that bad booty on the floor. Move it right to left. With your sexy body, come on, get that bad booty on the floor. I'll get you out of breath. You love it when I get you out of breath. I love it when that booty goes right to left. I'll get you out of breath. I'll get you out of breath. With your sexy body, come on, get that bad booty on the floor. Move it right to left. With your sexy body, come on, get that bad booty on the floor. I'll get you out of breath. I'll get you out of breath. I'll get you out of breath.
It's 2 minutes and 50 seconds of Jaysin Voxx new hit song, Out of Breath. I got
I like it.
I got a phone call from an
Thank you.
unlisted number
Got a dance hall vibe to it.
that heard this
Yeah.
song, and they said the favorite lyric they like. This is somebody calling from prison or jail. They said
Oh.
the favorite
It's
lyric they like is the part about I like
No
it when the
di-
booty go right to
No
left.
Diddy. No Diddy.
They said they like it when the booty go right to left. They like that part in the song. They
Man,
wanna
you
be-
gotta bring that up. You
They
gotta
wanna-
bring that up.
and they want to
Now,
book Jaysin to
now-
come to the jail and perform that song.
No baby oil. No Diddy.
No
Oh,
baby
Lord.
Now we know that Kermit had to come up with that because I
Oh
don't think
no,
he
yeah,
caught.
Right.
that was corny as hell, man.
I know because I didn't know Kermit was in jail though.
Oh no,
Right.
No,
No, that's Suge. That's Suge Knight.
The phone call came from jail.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You didn't tell us that you was there though.
No, Kermit ain't been to jail. He ain't been to jail. He'd be a different man had he been to jail.
He just went to visit Suge Knight. That's all.
He'd be walking different. Is that what
No, none of
Walking
that.
like-
None of
Walking
that.
like John
Right.
Wayne.
I don't mean none of that.
Somebody gonna walk up to Kermit and be like, "You gonna eat your cornbread?"
oh.
Not the
Man.
cornbread. You ain't gonna get no cornbread. You can have the chitlins.
Kermit, don't drop that soap.
Oops. What happened?
I had to say that line in the movie. You don't eat
I'm gonna
your
be like this guy that I read about said he didn't even take a shower because he was scared of dropping the soap. He didn't even take a shower.
Oh,
he took a
yeah.
They
he was
put him in the hole and let him take a shower if he's that
just
scared.
stank.
But he
was
take a
stank.
shower.
He'd rather stank than to get spanked.
No, he'd have took a shower.
No, Kermit probably would have hit one of them COs, so he kept being put back in the dark room.
Be in the hole for all his time.
Every time he come out, they be like, "You can come out." He'd hit one of them guards and go right back in. Like, okay.
Hey,
Right,
speaking of
right.
CO, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were talking about, like the fact that 50 Cent is, saying he was going to talk to the president about not pardoning Diddy, right? So they was trying to say that, 50 Cent is whatever, a snitch or something like that. I said, well, I've never heard anybody call 50 Cent a snitch. They may do it, but I never really heard nobody say that, about him, you know. But I said that
Right,
they said about this guy on Clubhouse all the time, but they don't haven't said about 50 Cent. So it's
right.
just unusual, like how you view how you view some people or whatever. And then somebody said me something about they said, well, Rick Ross called him a snitch. I'm like, well, okay, now I say Rick Ross, even though I respect him and I appreciate the plaque I got from him, but if you look at the Rick Ross arguments with people, it's like he's the former, correction officer, and people
Right.
talk about he stole Freeway Rick Ross' name. So if you look at those attributes, then you'd be saying, well, who would listen to him if you look at that per se?
Well,
So what do y'all
well,
think
well.
about
First,
that?
first of all, Kermit, you need to understand, and I don't know who don't understand. First of all, Trump is not going to pass up $50 million to let P Diddy get out. So
Right.
y'all need to understand that it's not like some other people that we may know that got
Right.
2-3 million
Right,
to get
right,
out.
right, right, right,
But
right,
but
right.
ain't no way on God's earth Trump is not going to take that 50 million plus because he
Right.
already know that he offered that for his bail. He already know that. He already
Yeah.
offered that. And he's the only man that couldn't get a bail. And when